Infinite projection room begins with the projection of Ultron's world destruction. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 476, The Suffering Tigger. G-Gang. Even if I die, I will die with Tigger. Dagu was dazzled by the pollen of Kigela, and the humans underground rushed over desperately when they saw the pollen of Kigela. Even if they would be crushed into meat paste by Dagu, even if they would be beaten into flour mud by Kigela's whip, even if there were two 10,000-ton giants fighting, they didn't care. Dagu could dodge, but when he saw the humans rushing over, he had to give up the idea of dodging, even if he was tied up by Kigela's tentacles and then hung upside down. This scene is like Jesus. Constantine saw this scene and said unconsciously, Jesus was nailed to the cross, and Kigela's vines bound Dagu's limbs like thorns. Jesus also had a crown made of thorns on his head. Dagu was knocked down in the air by Kigela's thorn-like tentacles, and Jesus was nailed to the cross and bled for 6 hours before dying. I really don't know which chapter of the Bible the suffering of Jesus is in. At this moment, Dagu is like Jesus on the rack for the world. Victory Team Base. Tigger, you look so painful. Daijing stared blankly at the suffering Tigger. The once powerful giant of light became so weak that even a flower could hang him upside down. Countless humans were cheering for the pollen sprinkled by the flower, but they didn't know that the thing that excited them was a bullet that hit the hero. What are you doing? The door of the command room was opened, and an angry old man rushed into the room. Seeing the decadent appearance of a group of people in the room, he was even more furious. I'm asking you, what are you looking at? Jigen looked at the decadent people and pointed at them and cursed. Ultraman Tigger is fighting desperately. What about you? You just watch like this? Jigen, we faced with the dissuasion of his old friend. Director Jigen did not give Director Soei any face at all. He pointed at Director Soei's nose and cursed. Soei, I've known you for so many years, but I didn't expect that today I would find out that you are a coward. And you are all cowards. Jigen roared, are you just going to watch this flower destroy the entire human civilization? But what buts? Jigen cursed, I drove a 3-hour boat to the Victory Team Base. I didn't come to listen to your buts. I came to let you fight. You don't want to go, right? Jigen looked at everyone and said, okay, I'll go. Even if I die today, I will die with Tigger, instead of living in cowardice with you cowards like you. Jigen, listen to me. Director Soei grabbed Director Jigen and said, you have also seen the efficacy of Ziggurat's pollen. The masses will not let us destroy Ziggurat. The masses don't understand. Don't you understand either? Soei. Jigen asked back, is it because of the so-called bullshit will of the masses that the entire human civilization should be buried with it? I know, it's painful, I know, I will bear the infamy, I will be the enemy of the world. Director G-Gang didn't have that kind of anger at this time. He said lightly, as if he was about to go to the execution ground, but I don't care, I only know that I should do what I should do as a human being. Director G-Gang left without hesitation. Okay. Shinjo slammed the table and said in a trembling voice, then let me suffer together. This is the light in the hearts of humans. Even if there are all kinds of obstacles on the right path, true warriors will still step on the mountains of swords and the sea of fire and move forward, because they know what kind of responsibility they are carrying. Hehehe. Pollen. Ziggurat's pollen. Come on Ziggurat. Defeat Ultraman Tigger. Dagu, who was tied up by Ziggurat, was powerless to fight back and could only be passively knocked to the ground by Ziggurat. Dad, stop sucking. A child grabbed the man who was putting pollen on his face and said, Tigger, he's so pitiful. The reason why Ziggurat can control people's hearts is that it relies on the darkness and desires that grow from the pressure of life. Children don't know that the world is dangerous, and even the most beautiful fantasies have been done thousands of times. Suddenly, 2 green lasers flew over and hit 2 charred spots on Ziggurat's vines. I didn't expect that an old navy like me would have a day to sit in a fighter. Director G-Gang sat in the co-pilot seat, and Xincheng was responsible for driving the Fian No. 1. Chief G-Gang, you have a pretty good aim. Humph. A smile appeared on Chief G-Gang's face, a smile of a soldier. He told Shinjo, boy, I was a sharpshooter in the navy of the old defense team. What a coincidence. I'm a sharpshooter of the victory team. The old and the young attacked Kijila. Even though their attacks seemed particularly weak in front of Kijila, the laser released by Fian number 1 was enough to illuminate the darkness. Let's go together. Even if we die today, we can only die here in battle. Got it. Fian number 1 opened fire at full power. Kijila's attention was distracted, and Agu took the opportunity to break away. Kijila's vines were flying, and the two men who were determined to die were unable to dodge one of Kijila's vines in order to maximize the firepower. Seeing that the vine was about to hit Fian number 1 and shoot them down, a more powerful laser broke Kijila's vines. I'm sorry, we are late. The voices of Hori Irina and Munakata appeared in the channel. After hearing this voice, they finally smiled. I see. Why did Director G-Gang insist that I drive Heian number 1? Shinjo laughed. So Heian number 2 was reserved for you. Stinky boy. It's said that old people are the wisest. Director G-Gang smiled for the first time in a long time, and at this moment a communication came in. I'm sorry G-Gang, it took me so long to wake up. Hearing the voice of his old friend, G-Gang was even happier. Okay, it's time for the decisive battle. Okay, let's burn this broken flower. Let's go to the new era together. You're right, we are fighting for this. Okay, now, support Tigger. I changed the plot again. I think that with Director G-Gang's personality, he is probably the same person as Luke and the others. There is no scene of Chief Jigen in the original novel, which may be partly due to this reason. So I set Chief Jigen in this episode to go out for a meeting and then be affected by Zigella's pollen, and when he wakes up at night, he immediately rushes to the victory team base. Chapter 477 What is Eternal Life? Flying Swallow number 1 continued to fire around Ziggurat, while Flying Swallow number 2 flew to the front of Ziggurat and faced Tigger. At this moment, Dago knew that he was not fighting alone. Texas Cannon, fire. Flying Swallow no 2's most powerful weapon, the Texas Cannon, fired, causing great damage to Ziggurat. Originally, Ziggurat was just a plant and its strength was not strong. Not to mention that Ziggurat was now in the dark and its strength was greatly reduced. The Texas Cannon that could blow up the rock monster Alpha Gakuma caused great damage to Ziggurat. Dago did a backflip to get out of Ziggurat's attack range. He was more excited than if he had been injected with chicken blood. It was as if there was no red blood cell in his blood, and it was all stimulants. He raised his hand and directly knocked away the flying Ziggurat vines, and then crossed his hands, and raised them horizontally to accumulate power. Zapelio Ray. The white light accurately hit Ziggurat's pistol, and Ziggurat was burned to ashes, before he even had time to react. I see. Hikari showed a relieved expression on his face. In addition to the weakness of Tigger itself, I think Dago is also waiting for humans to make a choice. When Fian number 1 came to support, Dago recovered his strength and broke free from the vines. When Fian number 2 also arrived, Dago directly used the Zepelian ray to burn Ziggurat. No. Strange suddenly said, Ziggurat's flowers are just branches, and its body should be the roots hidden deep underground. Yes. Ziggurat is a plant. Some plants with strong vitality can be reborn, as long as the roots are still there. Ziggurat may also have such ability. Ziggurat was burned to ashes, and the sharp-eyed Zanfang discovered Ziggurat who was recycling its roots underground. Tigger. Pull out its roots. Dago pounced on it like a tiger, holding the roots of Ziggurat that were recycling underground with both hands. If you don't remove the roots, the spring breeze will blow, and it will grow again. As long as Kijila is not completely wiped out, it will still come out from the ground. The one that was defeated was just a clone. What really needs to be solved is Kijila's body hidden deep underground. Dago held Kijila tightly with both hands. The energy in his body drove the light particles to move quickly, and his body temperature rose rapidly. Tigger's body radiated a red light, and then a purple-red energy gathered from his whole body to his hands, and then flowed down along the roots of Kijila into Kijila's body. High heat explosion electric current. Explosions sounded everywhere, and flames drilled out from the big hole where Kijila originally turned out, turning into a huge pillar of fire. Dagu's chest kept rising and falling, and his handsome face added a touch of sacredness under the morning sun. His eyes were like bright stars, and they were full of joy that only ordinary people would have. This was the joy of stepping over pain, burning false dreams, and moving towards a new life. Is he Dagu, or Tigger? Maybe they are both. It is both light and human. Thank you, Tigger. Thank you. Dagu slowly stood up. He looked at Luke and his daughter in the sky, and transmitted his voice through his mental power. I'm sorry, I don't want to kill you too. It's okay, Tigger. Luke said with a smile. Thanks to you, we know what real life is. Real life. Try to live a short life and leave the results to future generations. This is how humans grow up repeatedly. It's really amazing. Luke and Dinah turned into light and left the earth. Before leaving, they sent blessings and recognition to modern humans in the name of super ancient humans. Humans do always make the same mistakes, but humans do move forward in the process of making mistakes. It is precisely because human life is short that humans will work harder to live twice as hard. This is the meaning of life, not relying on the essence of Zidra to live in a muddle. Dagu risked the whole world to destroy Zidra, but it was actually humans who made the real choice. Life, eternity, and no one spoke in the screening room for a long time. Everyone was shocked by this scene. What is eternal life? Everyone actually has a different answer in their hearts. The screening room did not force the audience to listen to its ideas. All it did was play one story after another, nothing more. In the end, it was the river god who broke the silence. Why did Dagu apologize to Luke and his daughter? They survived by relying on Zidra's essence. Dagu burned Zidra, and there is no essence left in the world. Their lives will naturally come to an end. Do you know? Constantine said, I suddenly remembered a story from a long time ago. Once, a man had a happy family, with healthy parents and a kind wife who loved him very much. But one day, his parents suddenly passed away. The heartbroken man was drowsy all day, and drank to drown his sorrows. One day when he finished drinking, and staggered out of the tavern, he saw a little girl. Although he had never seen this girl before, the man still felt inexplicably close to her. The man wanted to catch up with the girl, but failed. When the man looked up, he found that he had come to a crossroads, and the time was exactly 12 o'clock midnight. Lucifer appeared in front of the man, and told him that, as long as he was willing to give his love to his wife, Lucifer could resurrect the man's parents. The man rejected Lucifer, but Lucifer was not angry. Instead, he asked him to think about it carefully. After returning home, the man tossed and turned and couldn't sleep. Under the influence of alcohol, his wife learned about this, so she encouraged him to find Lucifer to make the deal. When the deal was completed, the man returned home and saw his resurrected parents smiling at him. He was so excited that he just wanted to find his wife to share his joy, but he found that he could not find his wife. At this time, Lucifer suddenly told the man that the girl he saw that night was his and his wife's future child, and that his wife was pregnant on the night of the deal. Constantine didn't know what kind of mood and thoughts he had, and told everyone such a story. Next, play Ultraman Tigger the finale trilogy Flying Higher. Chapter 478, Super Ancient Pioneer Monsters Ogre. The flames are burning, the earth is cracked, and humans are wailing. The Zagella is open everywhere, and the sky is full of huge strange birds. Finally, endless darkness engulfed everything in the world. Dagu woke up from a nightmare, and he suddenly realized that it was not just a nightmare. Dagu, what's wrong with you? Lina came in with 2 cups of warm water. Looking at Dagu who woke up from a nightmare, Lina's face was full of heartache. She knew something a long time ago. Lina left, and Dagu suddenly received a communication from the Ocean Patrol. Lina knows Dagu's identity. She broke the window paper and pointed it out. What? Bruce Wayne said, I have learned lip reading. I didn't see it wrong. What Lina said was it is recommended to watch the preview of episode 49. The Ocean Patrol calls the Victory Team. There is a change on the seabed near the coast of New Zealand. South Pacific. The ancient city of Nandmatal, located between New Zealand and Chile, began to shake. The stars in the abyss of stars from the ancient times returned to their source, and the evil god appeared. Everyone gathered at the base of the Victory Team. looking at the impact transmitted back by the submarine. Everyone's faces were filled with a solemn expression that was difficult to conceal. Super ancient ruins? On the other side, a strange bird rushed out of the seabed and flew to the nearest city, Sydney. The strong wind rolled up at tsunami. Although the strange bird was not as good as the monster Melba that caused the sky to collapse, its weight of 48,000 tons plus the speed of Mach 10 meant that just flying over the city was a natural disaster. The strange bird roared, and its huge body flew over, bringing with it gusts of hurricanes. The 8-level strong wind raged in the city. The body of the strange bird collided with the building, and there was only one result: scratching and dying. The local Australian victory team quickly moved out, but in the face of the terrifying power of the monster bird, they were either caught in the hurricane and their lives were unknown, or they could not even see the shadow of the monster bird. It was a delusion to want to follow behind the opponent. Zoga. When Dagu saw the monster bird appearing on the screen, he didn't even bother to act and immediately called out the opponent's name. Zoga, the vanguard monster, the follower of the ruler of darkness, is probably at the level of the personal guard. The strength is much stronger than the ordinary Zoga. Dagu, how did you know? Looking at the puzzled eyes of everyone, Dagu didn't know how to explain. Okay, how does Dagu know that this is not important? Captain Iruma Hui asked. Dagu, do you know the opponent's weakness? Zoga is very fast and can spit out fireballs from his mouth. Dagu frowned and then said, sorry, I only dreamed about these. If we can knock off Zoga's wings, it will be much easier to deal with. Dream? Dagu, you. Captain. Nori shouted, Zoga has left Sydney. This direction is. Zoga should be flying towards us. Also 3 minutes. No, Zoga's speed is not as fast as Melba. At the current speed, it will take at least 10 minutes. That's good. Victory team, get ready to attack. Yes. Zoga flew towards the victory team base. Compared with Melba, Zoga's speed is not fast enough. Compared with the victory team at that time, the current victory team's equipment has been updated in a large wave. The kind of powerlessness we once felt when facing Melba will never appear at this moment. Dagu, just as you said, don't compete with him in speed. Go around and hit his wings. Yes. On the two Fiano ones, Dagu and Lina went around behind Zoga, and the two planes opened fire at the same time, but Zoga slightly accelerated and avoided the attack of the Fian. Damn it. It went up there. Seeing this, Lina actually drove the Fian to chase it. Lina, stop quickly. Your body can't bear this kind of gravity acceleration. Lina knew it, but she was still accelerating. Overload warning. 9G. Overload warning. 10G. Overload warning. Lina groaned in pain, but she still didn't want to stop. Dagu, you must have been lonely all the time. A person fighting alone as Ultraman Tigger. If he could defeat the monster, if he could defeat the monster as a human, then Dagu would not be so lonely and tired anymore. Zoga suddenly turned his head in a very twisted posture during the flight and spit out a black and red fireball at Lina's plane. As an ace pilot, Lina was a little distracted, but her body's instinctive reaction still made her pull the joystick, and Fian number 1 turned sideways to avoid the fireball. Dagu, who was following behind Lina's plane. Fian number 1 crash alarm. Damn it. Dagu didn't have time to think about it, and took out the magic stick, and prepared to transform, but Lina shouted directly at this time, Dagu, are you okay? Dagu gritted his teeth, and stuffed the magic stick into his arms, and then he could only parachute. In the victory team base, Captain Iruma Hui encountered an unknown creature again. Captain Iruma Hui was already used to the fact that the victory team base would be invaded by strange things, and just thought that the Kiriloids had broken in. Stop. Stand still, or I'll shoot. After chasing all the way, Captain Iruma Hui finally caught up with the other party, but when she saw the other party's face, she was shocked. Who are you? The woman who looked almost exactly like Captain Iruma Hui said, Zoga has revived, the evil demon bad that burned the earth. It brought endless darkness and swallowed the earth. Endless darkness? The messenger who brought terror, destruction, sadness, and everything into nothingness. Is this the distant past, or a prophecy of the future? A white light flashed on the woman's body, and she turned into Yalian. Captain of the Earth Guard Corps, I'm just a program. I don't have the power to predict the future. But didn't you perish with your race? Yaolian showed a sad look on her face and then disappeared. The darkness of destruction is about to revive. On the other side, the people who attacked also returned to the base. Lina and Dr. Yaoi stand on a control panel, looking at the Snow White in front of them. Trivia: the last paragraph of episode 49 contains a hidden plot for episode 50. It's time for my favorite performance enhancement again. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 479 Ultra Father's Decision. The Snow White, the new model of the Victory Team. It has silver, purple and red paint, which is exactly the color of Tigger. This Snow White is loaded with components of the MAG's power system, so it can no longer load the equipment of the attack aircraft. It doesn't matter, even if it is like this. Lina said, I just hope it can fly faster and higher, otherwise, it will not be able to defeat that monster. I know, but you must not be stubborn. Lina, what are you going to do? On the other side, Dagu found Lina. Lina, what's wrong with you? Why are you always hiding from me? Did I do something wrong? The gentle Dagu straight man 3 consecutive point JPG. Lina was about to cry, but in the end she didn't say anything. Wonder. Lina is distressed about Dagu, distressed that Dagu has to bear so much, but never said it. She wanted to help Dago, but she was just an ordinary person, and had no power to help Dago. She could only look for the faster Snow White in the hope that it could fly faster and higher. Wonder, at least, if we catch up with Zoga, we can stand shoulder to shoulder with Ultraman Tigger, instead of hiding behind him and being protected by him. The video continues after the first attempt to encircle Zoga failed. The Victory Team quickly held a meeting to discuss countermeasures. In this regard, Dijing proposed that, if Zoga was a bird, it might have the instinct to return to its nest, and the monster's nest is likely to be the ancient city, which is where Zoga first appeared. In summary, my opinion is to thoroughly investigate the ancient city. I fully agree with Dijing's opinion. Director Zedging nodded and said, maybe we can also investigate the cause of the demise of the super ancient civilization. Go with the dolphin. Ji Gang said, let Shinjo drive the dolphin. The dolphin should have no problem dealing with a monster. Dagu returned to his dormitory. The dark dormitory was only illuminated by a desk lamp. Dagu sat in a chair, thinking quietly about the problem. On the other side, Lina sat on the Snow White and couldn't help thinking, how can I help you, Dagu? Under the music, that sounded like the sunset, the two souls seemed to have crossed the boundaries of space and connected together. Unconsciously, Dagu fell into a dream. In the dream, darkness fell again, flames burned the earth, and a civilization perished in endless darkness. This will never happen. Dagu looked at the super ancient city trapped in the sea of fire and darkness, and shouted, this will never happen. Is destruction destined? Why do you want me to see this situation, Yaolian? Dagu, who is both light and human. Yaolian was not seen, but her voice was, the answer is in your own heart. Dagu woke up suddenly, and the communicator beside him was beeping. The monster Zoga has appeared. The commander and Lina are preparing to set off. The call was from Captain Iruma Hui, and Dagu's eyes showed a trace of worry, and then he ran out immediately. He hasn't fully understood what Uran said yet, but he has some clues. I'm both light and human, and the answer is in my heart. Could it be? The super strong spike bomb can only be fired 5 times. Dr. Yabi said to Lina, the white snow can only carry so much ammunition. Don't chase it relentlessly, and put safety first. Understood. Please allow the white snow to set off. Wait a minute. Dagu didn't know how to get into the white snow, and looked at Lina who suddenly appeared, and sat in the driver's seat with disgust. Lina, this plane is going to crash. I'll be responsible for shooting. Dagu fastened his seatbelt and said, Lina, you can just focus on driving. Lina pouted and thought for a short time, then said, let's go. In the sea. The dolphin was sailing in the deep sea. when he heard that Zoga was handed over to Munakata and the others, Shinjo said unhappily, "Hate it." Hearing this, Horiju asked, "Why do you hate being with me so much?" "I'm not talking about that," Shinjo said, his expression still not getting better. What he hated most was the sea. His parents were killed in an accident at sea. The two of them controlled the dolphin to circle around the ruins under the sea. Horiju quickly asserted, "The captain is right. This is definitely not something built by humans. Who could it be? 30 million years ago, who would build such a huge building in this place?" In the air, watching Zoga flying over, Nariayu said excitedly, "His route is exactly the same as what I calculated." Texas cannon, fire. A yellow spiral laser was fired from the muzzle of the Fian second, and then Zoga accelerated and dodged it. "Hate it," Nori said with an unhappy face. "This guy is still too fast. The pre-calculated shooting route is completely useless. He can change his direction of action at any time with unscientific movements." "It doesn't matter," Zhang Fang said with a smile. "They are coming." A flash of white light passed by, and Nori couldn't even see the other party's figure clearly. He only saw a flash of white light, leaving a white trail in the air. "Snow White, come on stage. Magnus Power System, start." The speed of the Snow White continued to soar. The sudden acceleration made Dagu a little uncomfortable, but Lina continued to chase Zoga, as if nothing had happened. "Fire." Dagu had no time to think at all. After hearing Lina's order, he instinctively pressed the button of the laser launch button the next moment. The deep blow laser successfully hit Zoga, but the effect was not great. "Very good." Zhang Fang was very excited, at least he hit it. "Lina, Dagu, go behind it and attack its weak point." "Understood." Lina pulled the joystick, and the Snow White, which was already incredibly fast, burst into bursts of sonic booms in the air, and its speed increased again. "Lina, the Snow White has no equipment to fly out of the atmosphere." Dagu couldn't help but remind her. "Lina, a little higher." Lina's eyes seemed blurred, but she was very firm. Dagu couldn't help but ask, "What's wrong with you? Tell me, why?" There was a sad look on Lina's face. She asked without turning her head, "Why didn't you tell me? Why did you bear it alone?" Dagu lowered his head. He already understood everything. "Does that mean that Ultraman has the obligation to take the responsibility of protecting the Earth alone?" Lina's hands did not leave the joystick. Although tears flashed in her eyes, she still stared at the front and asked, "Dagu, you have been fighting alone. Don't you think it is too unreasonable?" "Lina." Dagu knew what Lina wanted to say, but he didn't expect Lina to say that. He has always regarded protecting the Earth as his responsibility, but he didn't expect that Lina was actually feeling sorry for him. "If I can, I also want to become light. Become light and fly higher." The Snow White broke through the clouds and flew higher. "This is not an obligation, because I'm a human. I'm just doing what I can do. I can't turn back now, so you can change. You can also become light." Dagu took out the magic stick and looked at the magic stick. Dagu seemed to say to the magic stick, and indeed to Lina, "You can too." "Tigger, is that so?" "Lina, she just wants to share some of the burden on Dagu's shoulders. Because I'm a human, I'm just doing what I can do." Peter did not know when he took out a silver dagger, which was the inheritor of Noah's light, trust evolution. Is it because of me that the alien beasts appeared, or because the alien beasts appeared, so Noah's light chose me? Peter did not know why this question came up. Thinking back to the traces he found when he was exploring the sewers in New York City, Peter felt a little uneasy. "I hope I can draw the on-demand coupon this time. I know too little about Noah, Nexter, and the alien beasts. The Kingdom of Light." When seeing Lina say on the screen, "Does Ultraman have the obligation to take on the responsibility of protecting the Earth?" When the Ultra brother said this, they all felt a little envious. What is the most precious thing in this world? A confidant, at least in the top 3. Seeing that Dagu had a lover who was his confidant, the Ultra brothers envied him and gave their heartfelt blessings to Dagu and Lina. It was great. Having a confidant who loved you deeply was one of the most beautiful things in the world. I hope that our future brother can find his confidant on Earth as we saw before, and have deep ties with him," Jack said with emotion. Ultra father nodded, and the wound on his waist was still aching. He had long been accustomed to this pain, but if he was to fight against the Emperor Starman, the scar on his waist would be a big problem. Back then, the Emperor Starman not only cut his appendix 3 centimeters above with a knife, leaving him with an indelible scar, but also cut off a large section of his future development path. His potential for future development was almost sealed by Emperor's sword. Although his strength has improved to a certain extent over the past 10,000 years, it is only 10 times stronger than before. If Emperor wearing the dark armor is dozens of times stronger than in normal state, then if he fights him, even if he takes the artifact of the Kingdom of Light, it is only a 50-50 chance. After all, he is a person of the same level as Emperor. If he issues a challenge to Emperor, the other party will definitely be fully armed. But he still has to go. Even if he has seen the future, he still doesn't want to leave an opponent of the level of Emperor Starman to a child like Mebius. Kane is not dead yet. Chapter 480 Lord Gatangia, do you see this? I will always be loyal to the darkness and to you. A flash of light appeared, and Tigger appeared outside the Snow White. Tigger held the Snow White in his arms, ignoring the tail flame of the Snow White burning his abdomen. He raised one hand high, and the crystal on his forehead flashed, turning into Ultraman Tigger air-type. Thank you. Lina stared at the front, and pulled the trigger. The deep blow laser accurately hit Zoga's wings. Zoga's wings broke from the root, and Zoga fell down in a spin, landing on the Mongolian plain. Tigger, holding the Snow White, rushed to the place where Zoga fell in an instant, slowly put down the Snow White in his arms, and nodded to Lina. Zoga fell from a place close to the atmosphere, and did not cause any damage to itself. Perhaps it was from the perspective of an omnipotent creature, but the collateral effects caused by Zoga's fall were no less than a meteorite falling on the Mongolian plain, causing a super strong earthquake. Seeing this, Tigger pressed his hands on the ground, and the blue energy merged into the earth, forcibly suppressing the source of the devastating earthquake. The source of the vibration was the collateral effect caused by Zoga's fall. The earthquake without subsequent energy supply was quickly calmed down under Tigger's suppression, and Zoga, who had climbed out of the pit, did not hesitate to spit out a red and black fireball at Tigger. Seeing this, Tigger immediately turned around and blocked this attack with his back. It is indeed not difficult to dodge this fireball with the agility of an aerial type, but Lina and the Snow White are still behind him. The fireball fell on Tigger's sadness, exploding with sparks, but Tigger did not make any more movements except for the shockwave of the explosion that affected his body, subconsciously leaning forward. When Zoga's attack temporarily stopped, Tigger slowly turned his head and looked at his opponent. Zoga roared and rushed towards Tigger, but was kicked away by Tigger. With only one wing left, it was obviously unstable on land, and Tigger also noticed this, and prepared to use this as a breakthrough point to fight. But then, Zoga made a move that shocked Tigger. It used its claws to tear off its remaining wing alive. Hiss, this monster is really cruel. As a bird monster, it actually tore off its most important organ, its wings, alive in order to maintain stability in combat on land. Thanos, a very motivated battlefield warrior. Thanos looked at Zoga on the screen, thinking about the performance of his subordinates in the previous screening, and the operations of sending heads one by one. He could only sigh silently. They were all subordinates, but the group of his subordinates were not as good as a bird. Logan, this Zoga should be a role like the personal guard of the Dark Ruler Gatangia. So, I'm afraid it's a bit troublesome. Logan, since they are personal guards, there are probably more than just one or two of them. Maybe there is a whole nest of Zoga in the ruins. Wanda, a nest? How many would that be? Captain America, at least, there should be more than 10. The video continues. Zoga threw his wings directly at Tigger, and took advantage of the moment when Tigger's attention was attracted by the wings to pounce on Tigger. Tigger, who was unable to dodge, was directly pounced on by Zoga, and an extremely sharp beak was aimed at Tigger's forehead, and pecked it fiercely. Seeing that he couldn't break free, Tigger held Zod's beak tightly with both hands, holding it tightly, so that he couldn't spit out the fireball. But Zoga's fighting style completely observed that the horizontal one was afraid of the stunned, and the stunned one was afraid of the desperate one. It directly launched a fireball attack with its beak held tightly by Tigger. Tigger was stunned by this fighting style. What kind of fighting style is this that hurts the enemy by 100 and hurts yourself by 3000? Taking advantage of the fact that Dagu's hands were blown open and he was in a state of confusion, Zoga launched a fierce attack. His sharp claws left 6 deep claw marks on Tigger's body, and a fireball mixed with flames was sprayed out of his mouth that could not be closed due to the explosion. Tigger was beaten and wailed in pain. The pain nerves of the aerial type were originally dozens of times that of the compound type. The continuous heavy blows made Tigger completely fall into the disadvantage. Zoga's rotten mouth let out a shrill scream. That was its last oath. None of us bird monsters are cowards. For Lord Gatangia, die. Crack. The crystal on Tigger's forehead shone with a red light. Ultraman Tigger powerful type. Tigger, who turned into powerful type, tightly grasped Zoga's 2 arms with both hands and threw Zoga directly hundreds of meters away. Zoga stood up instantly after being thrown away and was about to rush forward to duel with Tigger, but he only saw a silver white eel getting closer and closer to his forehead. Boom. Tigger kicked Zoga's head and broke it. Zoga's body instinctively retreated. Tigger followed closely and took advantage of the victory. His hand knife chopped Zoga's body like a sharp blade, then turned his palm into a fist and hit Zoga's face again and again, and finally a roundhouse kick knocked him to the ground. Zoga struggled to get up, but saw a red energy ball with a long stream of energy flying towards him. Zoga, who was exhausted, had no power to dodge, and could only be hit by the light stream of Deshram. At the last moment, when he was blown to pieces, Zoga looked up to the sky and wrought his last loyalty to his master, the great ruler of darkness. Lord Gatangia, did you see that? I will always be loyal to the darkness and to you. Foolish giant, celebrate. The great ruler of darkness is about to awaken from his eternal dwelling in Luluai. When he descends, darkness will cover this planet, and everything will be destroyed in darkness, just like 30 million years ago. Lord Gatangia. Boom. With an explosion, the super ancient pioneer monster, the captain of the personal guard of the ruler of darkness, the elite Zoga, died. After the battle, Tigger's chest rose and fell, and his arms slowly dropped. This time, he did not fly to the distant sky, but turned into a human in a blue light. Standing in front of the Snow White, Lina sobbed and walked towards Dagu. On the grassland, under the setting sun, the two slowly looked at each other, and Dagu walked towards Lina. Dagu. Lina's voice was tearful. She was distressed, but more importantly, she felt fortunate. Thousands of words finally turned into one sentence. Welcome back. I'm back. The breeze blew across the Mongolian grassland, and the two hugged each other tightly, as if nothing in the world could separate them. Chapter 481 The Ruler of Darkness has revived. Ding ding. The sound of the communicator sounded, and Dagu immediately let go of Lina, and picked up the communicator. Return to the base immediately. Zoga is invading the city. Dagu's face showed a look of astonishment when he heard this, but he just killed Zoga. How is it possible? Lina also asked in disbelief, didn't it just die? Although she knew that the captain would never joke about such things, Lina was still a little bit unbelievable. After all, Zoga had just died in front of her. 2 long whistles that pierced the sky sounded, and Lina and Dagu looked up at the same time, only to see 2 Zogas flying over their heads. The dolphin did not respond, and now Zogas have appeared all over the world. Ultraman Tigger Finale Trilogy Fly Higher and Logan. I didn't expect that in the finale, Lina and Dagu would show off. Captain America, this kind of relationship is really good. Bruce Wayne, the next person they have to face is Gatangia, the ruler of darkness. Holy Lord, the ruler of darkness. I don't know how powerful a being with such a title would be. Loki Odinson, the ruler of darkness. This title is not bad. From now on I'm the ruler of frost. Holy Lord. Oh, the clown ruler. Loki Odinson, stupid demon. You Kyriloid. Holy Lord, you are the Kyriloid. Looking at the demigod and the demon on the screen who started to quarrel, everyone was speechless. Asgard. Loki snorted coldly. He could feel the terrifying power surging in his body. The power in his body and the universal energy different from Asgard. That is, the power of God. Their power comes from the godhood and power given by the world tree. When the world tree withers, Ragnarok will follow. After consulting countless ancient books, he found a very scary thing. That is, the Ragnarok he saw from the Time Administration before seemed to be just a precursor, and the real Ragnarok was much more terrible than this. The world tree is aging, corrupting, and finally it will enter death. And then, it will be the real Ragnarok. The godhood in Loki's body is the godhood of the god of lies and fraud, and the power also comes from this. Thor is the god of storms and climate. There are two main reasons why he is called Thor. One is because of Thor's hammer, and the other is because Thor's godhood is in his dear old father. Only when his dear old father kicks his legs and rolls his eyes to the world tree, and hangs himself on the southeast branch, the godhood of Thor will be passed on to Thor along with their ancestral power. At that time, Thor is the real Thor. By then, even without Thor's hammer Mjolnir, Thor could burst out lightning far beyond Thor's hammer, and become the god of thunder who controls the thunder of heaven and earth. At least he would not be stunned by people, and biological toxins would not work. At least, he would not be called the god of hammer. And Loki's evolution direction is the god of fire. To be honest, it is a bit unreasonable to let an ice giant be the god of fire. After learning about his life experience, Loki himself could not help but have some doubts about his old father's idea, but for Loki now, he no longer lacks the godhood of the god of fire. When he develops the frost blood in his body to the extreme, Loki is confident that he can step into the threshold of the father with the power in his body. Since he does not need the power of the world tree, he naturally does not need to be trapped by the twilight of the gods. Loki has a feeling that, as long as he breaks through the father with his own strength, he will have a chance to survive the twilight of the gods, and if he can break through the single universe, then he will have the hope of delaying the twilight of the gods indefinitely. Moreover, since the frost bloodline in his body has been continuously developed, Loki can feel that the godhood in his body has been reversely driven by this power to improve. Even as long as he is willing, he can be promoted to the god of fire at any time. Faced with this temptation to become a true god, Loki refused without hesitation. Are you kidding? I can survive by myself. Why should I borrow the power of others? What's more, this thing is usury, and the debt is paid back with my own life. Loki looked at the fallen Zoga on the screen, and gradually gave birth to the idea that I can do it. Zoga is just like that, so the so-called Dark Ruler is probably only a half-step single universe at best. Even his old father can be 50-50, but that's it. Ultraman Tiga Finale Trilogy The Ruler of Darkness on Air. Ultraman Tiga Finale Trilogy The Ruler of Darkness on Air. Ultraman Tiga Finale Trilogy The Ruler of Darkness on Air. Ultraman Tiga Finale Trilogy The Ruler of Darkness on Air. Ultraman Tiga Finale. Image continues. On the bottom of the South Pacific, a super ancient ruin suddenly rose up, and in the human city, the super ancient pioneer monster Zoga dominated the entire sky. What Dagu and Lina just defeated was just a pioneer, a relatively powerful elite. How could it be so many? Everyone frowned or their expressions changed drastically. Zoga's attack range is all over the world. Basically, there are more than one Zoga active in every big city. Even if there is only one Zoga attacking the capital of a big country, there are dozens of them. Logan, this is what I said before. Zoga is a personal guard. It is impossible for there to be only one Zoga, but a group. Image continues. Humans fought desperately. Although they have a record of defeating Zoga, they are still far behind the entire Zoga group. Defeat a large Zoga, and countless small Zoga of the same size as humans will be born from its corpse. These guys are not only more flexible, but only energy weapons such as particle guns and laser cannons can cause damage. And in the Pacific Ocean, as an underwater building slowly rose, endless darkness began to spread. Black clouds or fog spread towards the world, surrounded by lightning in the clouds, and roars similar to those of elephants and whales sounded, as if some terrifying existence was slowly awakening. Dark clouds covered the sun, and the sky was dark. Do you think we can win? Lina couldn't help asking if our fate is destined to be destroyed. What kind of fate is this? Although Dagu hesitated on his face, he finally said without hesitation, we must change him. Today's 10,000 words must be sent. The class needs to be able to make a form, so I have to work hard and get the computer. Chapter 482 Police Department. It's so hard for me. Black fog permeates, and the waves surge. A huge stone pillar extends from the water. No, it is not a stone pillar, but a city. When the stars return to their positions, Lulai will rise from the bottom of the sea, and the great ruler of darkness, Gatangia, will awaken from a long sleep of 30 million years. The black fog he exhales will cover this world full of light, and all things in the world will usher in the end of destruction. His roar will drive all living things crazy. Wherever he looks, all things will inevitably perish. Darkness covers the world, and the demon bird Zoga, who brings destruction and darkness, will fly in the black fog covered by dark clouds, announcing to the world that the day of the end has come. He is indescribable, he is high above, his breath will change the world's celestial phenomena. And a light stomp of his feet can cause the ocean to shake. Note 1. Just because he is the ruler of darkness, when the world returns to chaos, Gatangia will fall into a deep sleep until the next arrival of the man of the end. His listening to the chaotic background music, the roar of the evil god hidden in the black fog, lightning and thunder, the whole earth was instantly covered by dark clouds, and no light could be seen, and the city rising from the bottom of the sea was full of ominous meanings. The text given by the screening room made them feel extremely uneasy. This was the second time that the screening room gave such a high and long evaluation. The last time, it was still the King of Ultra. That was in existence at the level of projecting the multiverse. This Gatangia actually received the same treatment as the King of Ultra. The sense of oppression it gave me was no less than Dormammu. Strange took a deep breath. When he faced Dormammu that year, he also suffered such terrible mental pressure, but he faced it directly at that time. And now, he didn't even see the other party's true body. Just his territory and his roar brought such a terrifying sense of oppression. How strong is the other party? Exclamation mark. Is this the ruler of darkness? Peter clenched his fists. Like Dagu, he was both light and human. He could feel more from the picture. That was despair. No, despair is not accurate enough. It is the despair of billions of lives, incomprehensible madness, and horror that cannot be expressed in words. Peter? Constantine was the first to discover that something was wrong with Peter. He shook Peter vigorously and woke Peter up from that feeling. Are you okay, Peter? Peter's mind was confused and blank. After a few seconds, he felt a warm current flowing in his nose. He reached out and wiped it, only to find that he didn't know when he had a nosebleed. Come. Hickley hurriedly took a tissue to help Peter wipe the nosebleed, and others came to ask about Peter's situation. Look, what is the status of a group pet? I don't know what happened. When I was watching the screen, I just felt that my soul seemed to be attracted to it, and then I felt a lot of things from it. Peter wiped the blood from his nose, and there was still a bloody taste in his mouth. He wanted to recall the feeling before again, but he felt that his mind was blank, and he couldn't remember anything. Note 2, I can't remember the feeling now. Screening room, didn't you say it's safe to watch videos here? Yes, Peter is fine, but he has a nosebleed. Sorry, I was wrong, it's okay. Peter said quickly, I've had nosebleeds from Thompson before, and I'm used to it, but what happened to me just now? As the descendant of Noah's light, your status is extremely high. Even if it's just a ray of light, your status is far higher than other people in the screening room, so you can see, hear, and sense things that they can't touch. But your own strength is not enough to withstand that kind of mental pressure, so your brain protection mechanism and Noah's light self-protection function force you to forget that experience, and the nosebleed is a natural reaction. So Peter looked at the nosebleed that he wiped on the paper and asked back, is this my memory? It's okay if you insist on understanding it this way. In fact, the other people in the screening room who could feel it either had a higher mental resistance than you, or a higher rank than you, and could resist the power of Gatangia that I released, or their rank was not high enough, so they could not feel it at all, and could only hear the noise and watch the excitement. You happened to be among them. As for the audience watching the live broadcast, the content of the broadcast itself was reduced, and the live broadcast they watched was reduced twice, so they could not feel it at all. I said, you will not be in trouble. Even if you don't have the light of Noah, you will only have a nosebleed in the end. I see. Bruce nodded. He just heard a roar similar to that between elephants and whales, and there was no special feeling. It seems that sometimes too high mental power and too sharp senses are not a good thing. Tony didn't say anything. He just heard something roaring. He didn't want to admit that his mental power and senses were not as good as Peter's, so he just handed Peter a bottle of water and went back. Image continues. The dolphin, which was unable to stabilize due to the impact of the waves, tried hard to stabilize in that tsunami, but it was too difficult. Dig Jin could only try to contact the headquarters. Headquarters. We found a huge black shadow. At the Victory Team base, the people in the command room could not receive any information from the dolphin, and Nori sent back bad news. Zoga has appeared in nearby cities. No, not nearby cities. Many big cities and capitals of various countries have seen Zoga, and there are more than one. The Brut team of the TPC America branch has been wiped out. The last news they sent back was that the other side flew faster than them. What? The Fian #1 of the Brut team of the America branch is the fastest model in the world. And the French branch. Little Britain almost didn't have a branch of the Kingdom of Northern Ireland. They were all wiped out. Not good. Nori widened his eyes and said, something has invaded our base. Nori, don't panic. Director Digging hurriedly comforted the child who had just become an adult and asked, calm down and talk slowly. What did you say, broken? Chief G Gang said, holding a paper fan, notify the police department immediately to deal with this matter. But, Note 1, Gatangia is said to have the ability to trigger a tsunami in the entire Pacific Ocean with a stomp of his foot. Note 2, for this purpose, I interviewed a classmate who often had nosebleeds and wrote this paragraph based on his personal account. Chapter 483 Grandma said. But, nothing was destroyed, and the safety protection system was not activated. Yui's face was full of collapse. He asked, and there was no mass reaction. It's impossible. It's too strange. This is not reasonable at all. Calm down, Yui. Under the base. Yui took a deep breath and said, something rushed up. The base has been sealed by black fog. They are spreading upward from below. Dagu rushed in with Lina. They just came back from outside. If you observe from the outside, the huge Victory Team base is nothing but darkness. Just then, the lights in the command room went out instantly. What happened? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Yui's spirit was about to collapse. Even though he had been baptized by war, he was still a child. Facing something he didn't understand at all, Yui acted like he was sensing the indescribable existence of the investigator. His 3 views were greatly damaged. Nori, don't panic. I'm switching to auxiliary mode now. Nori gritted his teeth, forced out the noise in his mind, and ran to the side to activate the auxiliary mode of the Victory Team base. On the other side, the police department was already fighting with the black fog. But it was more of a one-sided massacre than a fight. The police department used all the weapons they could use, lasers, bullets, and even wrenches. But it had no effect on the black fog, and the people in the police department would scream and fall down instantly as soon as they came into contact with the darkness. What on earth is this? Bruce couldn't help asking. I know it's related to Gatangia, or it's what Gatangia released, but what exactly is it made of? Shadow black mist. Shadow black mist is the breath exhaled by Gatangia. Its structure is extremely special, which makes it almost impossible to isolate shadow black mist. The attached ions can disrupt the normal operation of the machinery and isolate the radio waves. It can transform all particles within the area covered by the black mist into shadow black mist structure. At the same time, it has a strong blocking ability for mental power. Shadow black mist is a fatal threat to living beings. A slight touch will cause almost unhealable burns, and it can corrode all life. As time goes by, the shadow black mist exhaled by Gatangia can cover the entire planet. So, this black mist that hurts ordinary people when touched is just the black mist exhaled by Gatangia when he breathes, just like the carbon dioxide we humans exhale. This can almost be said to be passive. Then theoretically, as long as Gatangia is given enough time, he can destroy the entire universe just by breathing? Theoretically, yes. Gulp. Someone swallowed their saliva, and everyone's fear of this world was once again refreshed. I thought that the Emperor Star who sealed the sun with one thought was terrifying enough, but I didn't expect that there was an existence more terrifying than him. Passive. This is passive. This is equivalent to an ordinary person breathing here. Just by breathing, you can destroy an entire planet or even the entire universe. How powerful would it be if you go all out? Tigger won't lose, right? Although according to previous situations and experience, Ultraman generally won't lose. Even if Ultraman loses, he will regain his strength with the help of humans and then solve his opponent. Million Basaku, Yifu, Emperor Star, Belia, aren't they all powerful enemies who have killed or even wiped out Ultraman? But in the end, didn't they still fall under the bond between Ultraman and humans? But with the precedent of Ultron destroying the century, everyone really can't be sure whether this time will be the standard mode. So, the Kyrilloids were scared away by this? The video continues. Lift the Atrides onto the flight track and contact the guard squad. No, we can't get in touch at all. Nora's face was full of anxiety, while Salma chose to be a man of action. I'll go there myself. Seeing this, Dako hurriedly followed. Wait, I'll go too. In the third area, the people from the police department fell down one by one with screams. They were also people who had experienced many storms. Some strange things had invaded the base before, such as empty shell robots, vampires, and alien life forms that looked like rotten meat. But what they faced this time was completely beyond their cognition. All attacks were ineffective. A touch would cause serious injuries to the lighter ones, and the heavier ones would fall down directly. In this environment, it is difficult not to think too much, and the fear in their hearts is also spreading. Unable to communicate, unable to understand, unable to dodge, they could only watch the other side plunder their living space bit by bit. This was simply a torture for ordinary people with normal minds. They attacked, they shouted, they cursed. But it was all in vain. They could only watch the other side force them into a corner and devour their lives bit by bit. This was a darkness that even light could not penetrate. The guards fell one after another. Some screamed, some could not even make the last sound, and one went crazy because of the excessive mental pressure, howling incomprehensible crazy words, and then plunged into the black fog, and then died. Watching his former teammates, superiors, and seniors die one by one in front of him, the boy finally couldn't help crying. But he stood up tremblingly, raised the laser gun in his hand and shot at the darkness, but it was useless. But he did not close his eyes and wait for death. Instead, he straightened his crooked helmet, smoothed out the wrinkles on his clothes, and his face was extremely calm and peaceful. Grandma said that as a person, you must have backbone. Boom. A big hole was blown open in the wall next to him. Zhang Fang pulled the young team member who was about to be swallowed by the darkness and was about to die calmly, and then immediately pressed the emergency blockade button next to him to block the darkness outside. Nori, I have rescued the only survivor. Now go to hangar number 4 together immediately. The boy's face was calm, or rather dull. When Zhang Fang squatted down to check on him, he burst into tears. Okay, it's okay. Just then, he saw the black fog slowly seeping in from the crack under the door from the corner of his eye. Chapter 484 Dagu, you are not obliged to face an enemy you can't defeat at all. No, run. Munakata pulled the surviving member of the police department and ran to hangar 4, while on the other side was in the victory team command room. Are we going to abandon the base and run for our lives? Absolutely not. Yi Gang firmly opposed the idea of escaping without a fight, but was interrupted by Captain Iruma Kelly. Now is not the time to talk about this. Director, please give the order. Captain Iruma Kelly knew that in the entire victory team base, only Director Soy could suppress Ji Gang, the old hawk. Human lives come first. Director Soy said without hesitation, let everyone take refuge on the Atrides. Jigang, you too. Director Soy said to Chief Jigang, this is an order. Let the police bureau stay. Chief Jigang said, I will stay here with the police bureau. I will never give up the base easily. Don't you understand yet? Captain Iruma Hui said, this strange black fog. The staff in the base went to the Atrides one after another, and in the city outside, the high-rise buildings were destroyed, leaving only ruins. The fire was burning, there were no pedestrians on the streets, and darkness enveloped the sky. The underground shelters in every city were crowded with people, and people could only wait for the arrival of the unblocking order in this small space. In the extremely depressing atmosphere, there are always people who can't help but find trouble to add trouble to the staff, who are already under great work pressure. In an underground shelter, a bold strong man is attacking the blockade of the gate. Let me out. Let me out. Why do you restrict my personal freedom? The concentration of black fog in the air is increasing. It's too dangerous to go out. Let me out. You are trying to stop me. Get out of here. It's too dangerous outside. Calm down. Get out. You guys. We pay you to protect us, not to lock us up here. Yes. Let us out. Let us out. This kind of scene is played out in every city's shelter. Within the range, covered by the black fog, even electronic signals are blocked. In the Victory Team base, Dako and Sokko came to the command room. Atlantis has entered orbit, and the evacuation work in the base has been basically completed. Let's retreat quickly. Start the Mag's power system quickly, otherwise it won't start up. Soe. Jigung looked at his old friend and said, I have invested too much effort in this base. Although it doesn't move, it is also like a ship. No captain will abandon his ship. Jigung's serious face actually showed a smile at this moment. I will stay until the end and sink with him. Is Jigung determined to die? It is very likely. You have seen how powerful Gatangia is. As a captain, Jigung should be prepared to die with his ship. This is very similar to an idea in the Showa period of Japan. Facts have proved that this idea is wrong. Bang. Director Soe slammed the table and shouted, what nonsense are you talking about? The prerequisite for struggle is that you must be alive. This sentence fundamentally denies something. Under the sea, in the Dolphin, Xincheng is still calling the Victory Team headquarters through some means. I told you that black fog cut off all means of communication. You are very patient. Xincheng seemed particularly impatient in this environment. As a person whose parents died in the sea, Xincheng actually hated and was even afraid of the sea. Now he was trapped in the deep sea, unable to float up and communicate with the outside world. If it weren't for the big-hearted Daijing who was here to accompany him, Xincheng would probably really go crazy. Don't be so impatient. Daijing said calmly, the more impatient you are, the more oxygen you consume. Really, I'm starting to hate the sea too. Just then, the ocean, which had finally calmed down, began to shake violently. Xincheng. What's wrong? That guy finally started to act. In the dark deep sea, a pair of scholar eyes lit up, like two stars rising into the dark night sky. When the stars return to their positions, Lulai will rise from the bottom of the sea, and the great ruler of darkness will wake up, bringing endless darkness and the final end to this world. The thick shell is full of pits, and a pair of scholar eyes are like Mars. When Mars rises, time will fall into endless wars and disasters. The roar of elephants and whales resounded through the world, and the brains of Jujing and Xincheng, who were the first to bear the brunt, were blank. In order to protect them, their brains forced them into a coma. Is this the true body of the ruler of darkness? Peter held his head. As the unlucky guy with the most sensitive senses in the screening room, but not up to standard, Peter was under the greatest mental pressure. Is this the ruler of darkness? So scary. Peter took a deep breath and forced himself to look at Gatangia. He might have to face this kind of monster in the future. Now he can't even see an impact. How can he protect the peace of the earth in the hands of such a terrifying monster in the future? Gatangia, here I come. The head grows backwards, which means evil and chaos in religion. The video continues. This is the ruler of darkness, Gatangia. It wants to engulf the whole world in darkness. It was this guy who released the black fog. In the Victory Team base, various electronic equipment burst into sparks, and the video screen instantly went black. The satellite equipment is no longer usable. The black fog rushed directly into the command room. As the captain of the Victory Team, I order all team members to board the Atlas immediately. Jigen. After being scolded by Director Soe, Chief Jigen finally came to his senses. Since we are in this room, we have no choice but to obey orders and order the police department to retreat. Go. In the Victory Team base, everyone was running out, except Dako, who stayed. Dako. Team member Dako. What are you going to do? I want to. Dako didn't look back. He said to the team members behind him, I want to go alone. Let's go. Captain Iruma Kei turned around and said to Director Soe and Munakata, please. Soy and Munakata had already realized something. Without saying anything, they turned around and left. Looking at Deiko, who didn't even turn around, Captain Iruma had a smile on his face, trying hard to persuade Deiko to leave with them. When I first saw Ultraman, I thought I had met God and thought he could lead people to the right path. But it seems not to be the case. Later I learned that Ultraman is both light and human. So team member Deiko, you don't have to face an enemy that you can't win at all. You should understand. Chapter 485, We Must Win. As a human being, Dagu slowly turned his head, and under the sparks from the machine, Dagu seemed to have become the only light in this dark world. I can't win at all. I don't understand. Combining the insignificance of man and the open-mindedness of God, this is the real greatness. Love and courage are the hymns of mankind. Ultraman Tiga is both light and mankind. Yes. Captain Iruma Rachui showed a trace of relief on her face. She said, since when did I stop believing in fate? We must win, as a human. The two nodded and looked at each other. Captain Iruma Rachui pulled Lina and walked out the door. Looking at Lina, who was reluctant to leave, Dagu said to Lina loudly, Lina, it's your job to take everyone out of the base. Dagu slowly took out the godlight stick from his arms. This time, life and death are unpredictable. But Dagu would not retreat at all. No problem, you must win. Ultraman Tiga. The black fog enveloped Deiko's figure, and in the endless darkness, a ray of dazzling light bloomed. Above a city, Zoga was wreaking havoc, but at this moment, a blue light bullet flew over and blew Zoga into slag. It's Tiga. Zega, who could have fought hard with Tiga, became a soldier under Washang at this moment. No Zoga could resist Tiga's second move. Tiga cleared all the Zogas on the earth at a very fast speed, and then went to the South Pacific with the strongest posture, to fight the terrifying enemy. So strong. Looking at the Tiga on the screen who killed one Zoga with one move, everyone was a little shocked. The video continues in the cockpit of Atrides. Munakata came here with director Soe. What's the situation now? Even the warehouse is full of people. It's very troublesome. Hearing this, director Soe couldn't help but sigh. This is like Noah's Ark in the Bible. The black fog is approaching the second track. Hurry up, where is Captain Iruma? Sorry, I'm late. Captain Iruma pulled Lina into the cockpit. Munakata also knew something, so he stepped forward and patted Lina on the shoulder and said to Lina, it is your responsibility to control the joystick. Understood. Lina walked quickly to the driver's seat. In the few steps she walked, Lina wiped the tears from her face full of calmness. Dagu was going to fulfill his responsibilities, so she couldn't hold him back and had to fulfill her responsibilities. The critical point of charging has reached 97%. Ready for the 10-second countdown. Captain Iruma walked to Lina and gently placed a hand on Lina's shoulder. So the captain knew everything. We must believe in strength, not only the power of Tiga, but also our own strength. The Magnus power system is fully charged. Atlantis, move out. The Atlantis flew away from the base of the victory team, and Director Soe came to the side of Director Jigen, who had a very unpleasant expression. Don't tell me unnecessary words, Soe. Jayaka has invested a lot of effort in this base. He must be sad and indignant now. This is equivalent to asking a captain to abandon his own ship. Of course, Jigen feels very uncomfortable. Director Soe saw Jigen's expression and knew it in his heart, so he gave up the words he wanted to comfort him. For Jigen, that kind of comfort was unnecessary. Compared with those useless comforts, it would be better for Jigen to be alone and quiet for a while. Director. Captain Iruma Rachui came to Director Soe and asked, when the Atreides reaches a safe place, let me go down. I want to save the members of the Dolphin. Yes. Director Soe nodded and said to Iruma Rachui, I have made too many requests to you over the years. Thank you very much. When I agreed to take over the victory team, I was mentally prepared. In the Pacific Ocean, in Luluai. Darkness shrouded, and strange sounds resounded. A dazzling golden light fell from the sky. After defeating all the Zoga, Tiga descended on the land of Luluai with the strongest attitude. Desolate ancient city, cold stone. Strange patterns, twisted buildings. Everything here exudes horror and weirdness. Even Tiga, who has reached the Flash young form under the blessing of Dagu's heart, was invaded by this darkness and madness. In the endless darkness, only the crystal on Tigger's forehead and the faint golden light emitted by the energy indicator on his chest can pierce the darkness. Can you see the battlefield clearly? Magneto rubbed his eyes. He was basically blind when looking at the screen. If it weren't for the golden light on the screen, Magneto would have thought the screen was black. Why can't I see anything? You'd better not see it. Peter looked at the huge figure on the screen and felt endless fear surging towards his heart. In this wave of fear, there was darkness, despair and madness. Bruce didn't feel anything. He could easily see Gatangia's body, his inverted head, scarlet eyes, and uneven shell. Darkness can cover everything, but it can't cover the existence of light. Palm light arrow. Facing Gatangia, Tigger took the lead and threw a blue sword light bullet. The blue sword pierced the black fog and landed on Gatangia's shell, splashing sparks. But facing the palm light arrow, that was enough to beat his ogre into pieces. Gatangia didn't even scream, and it didn't even react at all. Except for the impossible situation that Gatangia was knocked unconscious by a palm light arrow. The remaining situation is that this move didn't break the defense at all. In Gatangia's opinion, this move is not even a scraping. Scraping, at least it can scrape off something. Tigger was also shocked. Even if this was a tentative attack, the opponent's indifferent attitude made Tigger feel tricky. Tigger stepped forward and kicked Gatangia's shell with his left whip kick. Gatangia didn't feel anything, but Tigger felt like he kicked the wing of the victory swallow when he was still Dagu. His leg was about to break, but the battle still had to continue. Tigger punched Gatangia on the head. This punch finally made Gatangia react a little. The sea surged and set off a 12 magnitude tsunami. In that tsunami, a huge black shadow emerged from the water. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 486, The Power of the Evil God. It was a pincer as big as Tigger, carrying bursts of sonic booms and attacking Tigger in the distance. Tigger felt the terrifying power of the pincer and his eyes flashed. He rolled to avoid the huge pincer. Before he could breathe, several shadows swept towards Tigger from the bottom of the sea. It was a tentacle, which attacked Tigger at 10 times the speed of sound and directly wrapped around Tigger's neck. The terrifying power made Tigger scream in pain, and just one tentacle made it difficult for Tigger, who was in the state of a flashing young boy, to break free. At this time, several tentacles swept towards Tigger's limbs and slender waist, and easily lifted Tigger into the air. What kind of monster is this? Wanda, this guy's too powerful. Wanda. A few tentacles suppressed Tigger, and there are countless tentacles under his body, just like our hair. Holy Lord, the ruler of darkness, Gatangia lives up to this name. Holy Lord, a certain false god should learn what a real evil god is. You are at most a shoe god. Loki Odinson, you are no better than that Gariloid. Ace, stop arguing. The power of this monster is so strong that it is rare even in the archives of the Kingdom of Light. Except for Emperor, whose current specific strength is unknown, the void monster, that cannot be calculated by common sense, and the ultimate life form, Gatangia's strength can be ranked in the top 3 in the archives of the Kingdom of Light. Wanda, my power of chaos is not enough in front of this monster. Dr. Manhattan at JONATHAN Osterman, Drive Manhattan, what about you? Jonathan Osterman, Drive Manhattan, I don't know, but I really want to fight him. Loki Odinson, you should think about how to deal with that hell card first. The video continues. A video suddenly appeared on all the devices on Earth that can play videos. That's Tigger, who is completely suppressed by Gatangia. And, Gatangia, what's going on? Gatangia used some means to project the image of his battle with Tigger to the entire world. He intended to let all the people on Earth see the image of Tigger being defeated by him. Tigger is the guardian of the Earth. Seeing the invincible Ultraman Tigger being easily defeated by Gatangia, whether Gatangia wants to absorb humans as believers, gain despair in the hearts of humans, or show his own strength, it is the best choice to spread the image of Tigger being easily defeated by himself. In other words, killing people and destroying their hearts. It's useless. You can't win against it at all. In an unknown shelter, an office worker in a suit and leather shoes said dejected words. The mood of despair continued to spread in the already depressing atmosphere. I don't know who took the lead in crying. For a while, the crying sounded like a flame, igniting the entire bomb pack. The crying sound came from all places. People no longer believed that they could see the light again, just as they no longer believed that Ultraman Tigger could win. The golden light on Tigger's chest and forehead on the screen also began to flicker. The only light was being swallowed by the darkness. Would humanity's hope be cut off? Would humanity never see tomorrow again? Exclamation mark. No, absolutely not. Tigger, come on. Come on. Tigger, you can definitely win. Tigger, come on. Come on. A series of childish shouts rang out, and the light of faith turned into power and was transmitted to Tigger. The golden crystal on Tigger's forehead, who was gradually losing power due to the torture of Gatangia, flashed red. Ultraman Tigger powerful type. HMM. With a dull roar, Tigger tried his best to tear off the tentacles wrapped around his body, clenched his left fist, and terrifying energy continued to flow into his left fist. Ultraman Tigger Lightning Armor Breaker. Under normal conditions, Tigger's lightning armor breaking fist can kill the enhanced Flame Galzan, can scare the careless Kareloid into playing dirty tricks in violent form, and can splash sparks on Gatangia's shell. In a sense, the power of lightning armor breaking fist and palm light arrow are the same. Because they can't break through defense. A huge pincer flew over again with a sound of breaking through the air. Seeing this, Tigger repelled it with a palm light arrow, and was knocked away by another pincer on the spot, flying out of the ruins of Lului, and falling into the sea. Tigger endured the severe pain, and flew out of the sea. He slid his hands in the air to accumulate power. When he landed, a red sphere had already gathered. Ultraman Tigger's powerful special skill, Deshram Lightstream. The red ball with a long tail of flame hit Gatangia's shell again, and then Tigger drew a circle with his hands, and a stream of hot energy flowed. Tigger's arms overlapped to form an L shape, and the orange-red light followed the light stream of Deshram and hit Gatangia. This time, the silent Gatangia finally reacted, and finally his defense was broken. Good. Hikaru's eyes lit up, and he said, although I don't know where Gatangia's weakness is, but Tigger's entire battle, except for the first few tentative skills, all other skills are attacking the same place. That's right. By continuously attacking the same place, to weaken the enemy's terrifying and incomprehensible defense, the water dripping through the stone, the originally indestructible armor was continuously weakened under the previous continuous attacks, and finally a fatal blow was made through the strongest skill, the powerful Zephyrian Ray. The expectation is good, and the theory is feasible. But the only thing that went wrong with the expectation was Gatangia's terrifying strength. Good news, Gatangia's defense was broken. Bad news, Gatangia's defense was only broken. If the battle data is used to show it, then Gatangia's HP 1 Gatangia roared for the first time in the battle with Tigger, as if he was mocking Tigger's weakness, as if he was showing off his strength, but more like he was declaring his anger. Can a Leviathan be killed by replacing sand with pebbles? Exclamation mark. Daydreaming. Tigger already knew his own end, but he still attacked Gatangia. Dagu said that he couldn't win at all. He didn't understand. Now Tigger no longer has the ability to launch beam skills, and can only rely on powerful punches and kicks to launch useless attacks on Gatangia. Dagu knew that this was useless. He already knew that he couldn't win this battle at all, but he still wanted to save the world. He had to fight, even if it cost him his life. Absolutely, absolutely, don't give up. At that time, I suddenly wanted to write a sentence, Durham, please give me a helping hand. But because it was too out of place, I left it to the small theater. Chapter 487, The Light of Man. No one knew what Gatangia had done. A huge spark splashed on Tigger's chest armor. The spark was much larger than the effect of the previous lightning armor breaking fist and the light stream of Deshram on Gatangia. Even the powerful Zephyrian barely had a little effect after hitting Gatangia's wound. The golden energy indicator light kept flashing and making a rapid sound. Tentacles swarmed up and tied Tigger's limbs tightly. Gatangia let out a playful roar, as if laughing at Tigger's overestimation of his own strength. It did not kill Tigger directly, but lifted Tigger high and then threw him down hard. Tigger's body was repeatedly thrown by Gatangia on the land of Lului. In the surging waves, Tigger was gradually thrown unconscious. Gatangia seemed to want humans to see all this, to let humans understand that the end of the world has come, and the guardian god who usually protects them has been defeated. In a half-conscious state, Tigger seemed to see Gatangia's scholar eyes and the meaning behind them. The game is over. Yes, for Gatangia, or this is just a game. And now, the game is over. Now, welcome the annihilation. Tigger's struggle gradually slowed down. His skin color became dull and his texture gradually changed. Ultraman Tigger was turned into a stone statue. Just like at the beginning. Dagu. Lena let out a heart-wrenching cry. That was Tigger, but that was even more Dagu. That was her lover. Lena's cry made the hearts of everyone in the theater tremble. Peter listened to Lena's voice and unconsciously overlapped Lena's figure with Gwen's. How can we win? The gap is too big. It doesn't matter. Didn't Mebius and Mr. Hickory face the same despair as the Emperor? Peter cheered up and forced a smile and said, but they still defeated the almost invincible Emperor. Loki Odinson, but those are two Ultramen, and Mebius and Hickory have the entire Kingdom of Light behind them, not to mention Ultra Father, who is as strong as Emperor. Let me ask you, what does Tigger have? The hometown of the giants, that came from nowhere? Although Loki's words are unpleasant, they are true. That is, Mebius at least has a brother and an entire Kingdom of Light. But what about Tigger? Except for a hometown of giants that no one knows whether it still exists, there is nothing. There is nothing. Ace, Loki reminded me that I didn't even notice Tigger's biggest help. Loki Odinson, what? Ace, that's humans. Holy Lord, stop talking nonsense. How can a mere human defeat the ruler of darkness who can be easily toyed with by Tigger? Ace, no, when the light of human and Ultraman is connected, it is the most powerful force in the world. The video continues. I won't lose. Tigger won't lose. Gatangia released its tentacles, and Tigger fell into the sea. He struggled to get up, but had no strength. In the pain, he still subconsciously maintained the fighting action. But this is the only way. Tigger turned into stone. Gatangia made a joyful cry, and a tentacle gently pushed the stone statue Tigger into the sea. Gatangia did not make up the knife. This is not carelessness, but execution. Gatangia sealed Tigger's soul in Tigger's body, in the crystal on his forehead. Gatangia wanted to punish this guy who was overconfident, and tried to resist the darkness. He wanted Tigger to see with his own eyes how the world was forever shrouded in eternal darkness. And he also wants weak humans to watch their patron saints turn into stone. He is sending a message to humans. Your patron saints are so weak and powerless in front of me, and your world will eventually return to darkness. On the Atreides, Lena gritted her teeth and tried not to cry. She still has her own work. So Daegu is Tigger. Nori felt incredible, but the other members of the victory team quickly and calmly accepted this reality, as if they had known it for a long time, but now it was confirmed. Ultraman Tigger, the finale trilogy, the ruler of darkness. The end. It can be seen that everyone in the victory team has more or less noticed Tigger or Daegu's identity. Only Nori has not discovered it, because he has been at the base and rarely goes out. Everyone in the victory team is also very gentle. It's just a pity that Nori has been kept in the dark. Next play, Ultraman Tigger finale. To the brilliant people. In a shelter, people saw Tigger turned into a stone statue. Tigger failed. Her child's voice sounded, and words filled with despair echoed everywhere. Even Tigger is no match for that monster. It's all over. The staff who maintained public order could not help but feel despair in their hearts, but they still chose to do the last thing, which was to close the door and hold on until the last moment. Wait a moment. A kind-looking old lady pulled the staff's clothes and asked, "Can you wait a moment? There is still a child who hasn't come in yet. He went to help me get something." The smile and kindness on the old lady's face also infected the staff, and the staff asked, "Is it your child, old lady? We can go pick him up. He is just a kind-hearted person who once lived in my house, chatted with me, an old lady, and bought vegetables for me." The old lady pointed to the distance and said, "Look, he is coming." Seeing this, the staff rushed out to help him get something, but when he passed through the layers of black fog and approached, he found something a little wrong. You are. And on the road in the distance, a little girl holding a balloon in her hand, looked at the surrounding black fog, and squatted on the road sobbing in fear. Don't be afraid, little girl. The girl heard this familiar voice and slowly raised her head. It was a big sister with a faint golden light on her body. Sister, I'm scared. The girl wiped her tears, and saw the elder sister's appearance. Sister, I know you. You are the elder sister who gave me the balloon. Well, come on, I'll take you to a safe place. Okay. I followed the setting of Tigger TV. In Tigger TV, Gatangia is the ultimate darkness and the end of all things. Anyway, there is only one Gatangia in Tigger TV, no second one, let alone a tribe. Chapter 488, The Light of Man. In space, a plane entered the atmosphere. The plane flew high in the sky, looking at the destroyed land and cities. The Golden Gate Bridge was blown to pieces, the Eiffel Tower was twisted and deformed, and Notre Dame was burning in fire. Tribes in Africa, snowfields in the north. The seaside in the south, cold deserts. Where there are people, there is a poisonous weed called despair growing wildly. In a shelter, a man wearing glasses and a brown plaid shirt listened quietly to the quarrels of the people in front of him. Ultraman Tigger is dead. You are talking nonsense. Ultraman Tigger is not dead. And on one side of the city, a black shadow emitting red light appeared in the streets and alleys. Ghost Zoga. Ms. Chris Mayer. Please leave quickly. Your agent has already run away. The beautiful girl shook her head, her eyes emitting blue light, and blew a Ghost Zoga to pieces, but then more Ghost Zoga surrounded her. I won't leave. I will do my best to protect everyone. The girl said, just like my brother protects me. Seeing that the evil spirits Zoga are getting closer and closer, there are fewer and fewer places to take shelter in the entire shelter, but at this moment, a laser swept and cleared out all the evil spirits Zoga. Is it the victory team? Is the victory team coming to save us? Everyone, get on the spaceship. The leading man said to the people in the room, we will take everyone to a safe place. The man wrapped his hands tightly, looking a little unnatural. The man in the brown plaid shirt seemed a little surprised. He didn't foresee this scene. Dagu. The man looked towards the sea and said, it seems that my prediction may not be accurate. In the victory team base, the battle to save Ultraman Tigger is in full swing. Through the Magus power system, converting energy into light, and shining it on the energy indicator light of the Tigger statue or the crystal on its forehead may be useful. Listening to Nora's somewhat whimsical idea, Dr. Yabi retorted, but it's probably not that simple to use physical light particles to work. But we have to do everything we can, otherwise. Deco, that's right. Before Lina finished speaking, she heard a voice ringing in her ears. Not only Lina, but also Captain Iruma Kerry heard it. Absolutely don't give up. But no one else heard it. Director Soe said, but now we still can't analyze the composition of the statue. But there is a person who knows how to use light. Nori said, he knows how to use light to transform the statue into Ultraman. You mean Masaki Kigo? In a single cell, a man in prisoner's clothes stared blankly out the window. It's exactly like a dream. The man's name is Masaki Kigo, who is a person with ancient genes like Deco. In other words, he can also use the magic rod to become Ultraman. In fact, he did it. He used the two giant stone statues to create a brand new stone statue, and then used the magic rod taken from Deco and the instruments made with his own wisdom to successfully become a new Ultraman. Evil Tigger. But evil cannot prevail over justice. The fake that Masaki Kigo transformed into was still defeated by Deco, the real Tigger. He actually relied on his own power to transform from a human to Ultraman. Even if he used the Ultraman statue and Deco's magic rod, everything Masaki Kigo did still shocked everyone. You know, except for the irradiation of the plasma spark tower in the Kingdom of Light, there is currently no means to turn a person from a human into light. And even if Masaki Kigo used the effective props, it would be terrifying. Nori said that Masaki Kigo is the only one who can use light to transform a stone statue into Ultraman. Loki Odinson, don't be happy too soon. Even if Tigger is resurrected, what's the use? Don't forget that the extremely powerful Tigger in the state of Shining Hina couldn't even break Gatangia's defensive shell. Ace, since it's Shining Hina, it must have the complete form of Shining. If Tigger can evolve to the complete form, he will definitely defeat Gatangia. Loki Odinson, I don't think so. Don't forget that Shining Hina was beaten without any chance to fight back. How strong can it be, even if it evolves to the complete form? The video continues on a plane. A voice suddenly appeared in the pilot's mind. Can you let me take your plane? Who are you? I'm talking directly to your head. Please take me to a place. In the dolphin, Daijing and Xinqiang were sweating profusely because of the increasing concentration of carbon dioxide. Daijing knew that, since communication had not been restored yet, it was very likely that Tiga had already been defeated. But Hori didn't dare to say it, because if he did, Shinjo would really collapse. It's possible that Shinjo also guessed it, but Shinjo didn't say it. Sometimes, collapse is caused by a single sentence. It seems like looking at the blue sky. Yeah, I don't know what happened to Mayumi. Shinjo looked at the detector, but there was only endless darkness above. Masaki, someone is here to see you. The diligent guard is still guarding here, followed by Mayumi and Masaki Kigo's assistant. Mayumi looked at Masaki Kigo's back and said, we want to make use of your wisdom and your knowledge. Masaki Kigo, who had been looking at the endless darkness outside the window, finally turned his head after hearing this and said, what I did, in fact, was not wrong. Masaki Kigo's deputy hurried forward to persuade him, Mr. Masaki, please cheer up. Humanity is in danger and needs your help, and this time is a good opportunity for you to atone for your sins. Masaki Kigo slowly stood up and said, in a world shrouded in darkness, someone needs to use light to guide them. But that person will definitely not be you. Ha 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 ha. Mayumi's words caused Masaki Kigo to laugh wildly, but he immediately restrained his emotions and said to Mayumi, you're right. I thought Masaki Kigo would. Mayumi's words somewhat irritated Masaki Kigo, but looking at the effect, it's not bad. After writing the finale, I will announce the places I modified and the identities of these people. Chapter 489, The Devil's Trilogy, The Devil's Ultimate Foul Mouth and Escape. Dagu, you are still alive, you know? I have a lot to say to you. The Atreides stopped at the shore, and the refugee staff were carrying out emergency transfers, and they were also waiting for someone to arrive. And Lena took advantage of this plan, to come to the seaside. She looked at the distance, where there was darkness, monsters, despair, but also her lover, Lena. In the deep sea, a stone giant was quietly immersed in the cold sea water. In a consciousness space, Dagu slowly opened his eyes. Tiga used its power to protect Dagu, and transmitted Dagu's consciousness into the crystal on his forehead, allowing Dagu to preserve his consciousness, but he was also imprisoned here in a deformed state. Dagu found himself imprisoned in a crystal. When Dagu was about to struggle out of it, he heard a familiar and piercing laugh. Kiraloid people. Ha 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 ha. Kiraloid people laughed loudly, and laughed at Dagu wantonly. If it weren't for you, we Kiraloid would have rescued the stupid humans long before the Dark Ruler was resurrected. You mean, it's okay to obey you? It's too late. The god of Kiraloid has already abandoned this planet. I've said before, don't even think about being the guardian of this planet. You don't deserve it. Why are you pretending? Just say it. When you're scared away, you even come back to mock Dagu who fights hard for the earth. These guys don't care about their face. The video continues. Captain Hay-8 walks into the Atreides. Hello everyone, warriors who have fallen to the bottom of the valley. G-Gang was unhappy when he heard it and immediately shouted angrily, how can you say that? Where are the others? Hay-8 continued to ask. Shinjo and Daijing drove the dolphin to find the monster's lair. Hay-8 glanced around and immediately realized that there was someone missing. Where's Daegu? As soon as these words came out, the atmosphere in the cockpit became even more depressing. Nori called up the image of petrified Tiga, and Captain Iruma told Hay-8, this is Daegu. Is Daegu Tiga? Minato asked puzzledly, how do you know we are here? This place is not easy to find. All means of communication are blocked by Gatangia. Even though the Atreides is very large, in this kind of black fog, visibility will not exceed 10 meters. You know, Hay-8 came back from space. A strange guy brought me here, and I brought it with me. The door opened, and it turned out to be Masaki Kigo. No. Peter felt that something was not right. The person who delivered the information before should not be Masaki Kigo, right? I have that feeling too. That was the man with the brown plaid shirt and eyes before. Who is he? I'm asking you. Dr. Yabi immediately ran to Masakikigo and said, the machine you made in the Kumamoto cave. Masakikigo's expression was a little strange here, and he slowly said the name of the machine. Optics Genetic Factor Converter? We need to know the principle of that machine. We want to convert Tigger, who has turned into a stone statue, back. Dr. Yabi said, we have an energy supply device. Energy supply device? Do we have it? Of course. It's right under our feet. In the corridor of Atreus, the man told Mayumi his story. He was born different from ordinary people. He could predict and telepathically transmit. Because of these abilities, he has been rejected by people. He also felt that he was completely different from humans until he met Tigger, or Dako. You have such amazing power. There was a hint of admiration in Mayumi's tone. The little bit of power that the other party casually displayed was already amazing. Actually, I think my power is amazing, but it's only recently that I started to feel that I've always been the one who separated myself from humans, and I've been hiding this power. But now I understand. I'm just like ordinary people. I'm also a human being. I used to think that humans would reject people who are different from themselves, or people who use more powerful powers than themselves, until I met Ultraman Tigger. The man looked at the endless darkness and said, I don't understand why Ultraman Tigger, who also has powerful powers, can be praised and appreciated by humans. Is it because Tigger is desperately protecting humans? What I didn't understand even more at the time was why Tigger did this. Was it just to be praised by people and not be hostile like me? The man said, I played a game with Dagu. Game. Yes, the process of the game is not important, but in this game, I understand one thing. A relaxed look appeared on the man's face. He smiled and said, being hostile or admired is not because of the size of the ability, but the character of a person. Although Dagu was defeated by the monster, he still fought desperately. From that moment on, I finally understood why humans admire Ultraman Tigger so much. It's not because of Tigger's superpowers, but because he has something that everyone has, such as courage and the power of love. Goodbye. Wait a minute. Mayumi stopped the man and asked, you haven't told me who you are, or your name yet. The man turned around and smiled, saying, my name is Kirino, and I'm an ordinary person who was saved by Dako's gentleness, kindness, and courage. Where are you going? I still have things to do, and this is something that only I can do. I see. Peter said, this man named Kirino has very strong superpowers. He can actually perform telepathic transmission, even when Gatangia has blocked the global signal. X-Men Universe. Charles, do you think you can break through the blockade under such circumstances? Charles. Logan turned his head and saw that Charles was holding a book and reading it, and he was recording something while reading. Don't write lesson plans at this time. No, Logan. Charles said, I found something in our world that may be related to Gatangia. What? Stop it. Charles raised the book in his hand, with a few words on the cover. Out of the eons I'm busy, now that I've graduated. Chapter 490 You must wake up, Tigger. In the deep sea, Daijing and Xincheng were breathing the few oxygen in the dolphin. Is this darkness really going to destroy all mankind? Daijing looked at Xincheng, who looked like he was about to die, and said, speaking of darkness, in fact, everyone has a dark side in their hearts, but the important thing is that in addition to darkness, we also have a bright side in our hearts. What a famous saying. Xincheng grinned and asked, where did you copy it from? Do I need to copy it? Daijing was about to argue with Xincheng, but heard a voice ringing in their ears. Now is not the time to despair. The two were stunned, and Xincheng thought an angel had arrived. Who are you? Just think of me as the person who got the light in his heart from Dako. Kirino's voice continued to ring in the minds of the two. Listen, something will be sent to you soon. After receiving it, operate it well. What is it that we are asked to operate? A device that transmits light to Tigger, who has turned into a stone statue. On the Atreides, the optogenetic factor converter appeared in this world again. Your talent is really amazing. Dr. Yabi couldn't help but sigh. Even for him, the optogenetic factor converter was too advanced. Masakikigo said, can I go with you? I have only conducted the experiment of optogenetic factor conversion once, which was the time when I used the optogenetic factor converter and the giant stone statue accidentally discovered in the Kumamoto cave to turn into a giant. Masaki Go turned around abruptly and said, "This time, I want to adjust it myself. But this device has no room for other people. Captain, and everyone in the victory team, please listen to me." Dr. Tango heard the implication of Captain Iruma Kerry. He quickly stepped forward, and under the majestic gaze of Yoshitaka, helped Masaki Go to smooth things over. "I know there is no room for me to speak here. Mr. Matsuki was indeed wrong in the past, but he is now also worried about the future of mankind. So I think, okay, go with us." Masaki Go slowly turned his head, but he didn't expect that it was Lina who spoke for him. Lina looked at everyone and said, "We can only do our best now, right? Then let's go." In front of the entire community of human destiny, except for the completely anti-human and anti-social lunatics, both good and evil people will do their parts for humanity. This is also the light of humanity, the light that never gives up. All the aircraft that can move in the darkness are dispatched collectively. According to Kirino's guidance, they successfully found the location of Gatangia. Luloi. Is that the ruler of darkness? Lina looked at the huge and twisted body and felt a buzzing in her brain. Others were not much better, but for the future of mankind, they could not fall down. "Mr. Matsuki, we are almost there." "Okay." Masaki Go's tall body curled up in the optogenetic factor converter, constantly debugging the data inside. "Beta, get ready to go. Prepare to drop the max energy tank." "Masaki, please." The not very big energy tank was thrown into the sea. The small space with a small range of movement made Masaki's body constantly collide with the four walls of the energy tank under the violent shaking, and bruises soon appeared on his body. What's even more terrible is the feeling of dizziness. Thanks to the tsunami caused by Gatangia that affected the entire Pacific Ocean, it has stopped a lot at this moment. Otherwise, this small max energy tank would have been swept away by the seawater to an unknown place. But Kirino had already calculated everything, and the max energy tank landed accurately in front of the dolphin. "Here it comes. Something is really coming. So this isn't a dream. There's a man named Masaki in that machine." Kirino continued to guide the two. "He can operate it manually. You two use the dolphin to shine the light emitted from the energy box towards Tigger." On the coast, Kirino looked at the Dead Sea, as if he was looking through the darkness at Daegu, who was petrified by Gatangia. "Only you can't hear my voice, Daegu." The expression on Kirino's face was extremely complicated. After a long time, he still said to the other side of the sea, "But I believe you must still be alive. You must become light again. If Tigger is a god, then at this moment, Kirino is like a disciple inspired by God." In the silent deep sea, there is only the sound of the dolphin starting up. You must catch it. He put on his gloves, took a deep breath of the few oxygen, and bit his tongue to keep his mind awake. A grabbing arm with suction function stretched out from the dolphin and successfully locked onto the mag's power box while shaking. "I caught it." "Good." Zincheng drove the dolphin towards the stone statue of Tigger. They wanted to turn Tigger into light again. Under the transformation of Masaki Go, the mag's power box has become a brand new optogenetic factor converter. Masaki Go, who was already tall, squeezed in a small space, with an instrument on his face to maintain breathing, but when he saw the data on the optogenetic factor converter, he couldn't help but excitedly took off the respirator. "That's it. That's the WAV form. You must wake up, Tigger." As Masaki Go pressed the button, a huge energy lamp burst out with dazzling light, and the light shone on the energy lamp on Tigger's chest. Daegu, who was sealed in the crystal, felt the power of this light and slowly opened his eyes. On the sea, Gatangia, who was playing in the water, felt unhappy. "Although my head is the wrong way round, I'm not blind. How did you shine that light? Do you think I'm a fool?" Exclamation mark. Gatangia listened to the human's plan. He did not care about it. To him, even if Tigger was resurrected 1,000 or 10,000 times, it would only mean a few more thoughts of petrifying the other party. The reason why Tigger and him fought for so long before was not because Tigger was too strong, but because he just wanted to play with Tigger. Chapter 491 To the brilliant people. Gatangia stamped his feet violently, and a second tsunami instantly erupted across the Pacific Ocean. The Dolphin and Masakiki in the Magnus energy tank were the first victims, and were swept away by the violent force. The Magnus energy tank was nowhere to be found, and Masakiki inside was unknown, whether he was dead or alive. This script is wrong. Peter kept scratching his head, as if this could ease his extremely nervous heart. Logically speaking, shouldn't Tigger be resurrected and defeat Gatangia after getting the new light? How come Gatangia directly interrupted Tigger's resurrection? Kid, this is reality, not a novel or a superhero movie. Bruce Wayne said, the light emitted by the Mag's energy box is so dazzling that it can even penetrate the seawater to the surface. How could Gatangia not react and wait for Tigger to revive? Loki Odinson, I still say that, even if Gatangia resurrects Tigger in the Flash young state, is so powerful that he will still be unilaterally slaughtered by Gatangia. This is simply a battle that cannot be won. Wanda, I won't lose, Dako won't lose, Tigger won't lose, and humans will never lose. Loki Odinson, why? On what basis? Peter Parker, because Dako said that he can't win at all. He doesn't understand. The video continues. Light. Dagu stretched out his hand to try to touch the light, but it disappeared in the end. Gatangia roared wildly on the sea. He wanted to let the foolish people know that this game can only go on within the scope allowed by him. Now that humans have provoked him, this game should naturally end. On a spaceship outside the Earth, a father and daughter in blue robes are watching this battle. Dad, is this darkness? This is terrible. Tigger and the humans on Earth, are they really going to perish? Dinner. Luca touched his daughter's head and said with a smile, light will always overcome everything. It all depends on the choice of humans. And I believe that humans today will never perish like our world. Dad, where are you looking? Tadpole-like plankton drove the thunder and lightning clouds towards the Earth. The Earth is also their home. Where else? There is light. In the endless darkness of the universe, there is a golden light flickering. It seems that there are two blue lights in the golden color. Earth. All TV channels are forcibly taken over by Gatangia. He wants to let humans know the consequences of offending him. In a small town that is undergoing modernization, black fog continues to spread, squeezing the living space of humans. At this time, a young man found an old monk. Master, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have disturbed you while you were chanting. Let's meet in the next life. Silly boy, stop talking nonsense. The old monk took out a pot and said to the boy, come in. You're the only one left in the village. You've given me a hard time looking for you. Master, what is this? Isn't this just a pot? The old monk looked at the pot, and a look of nostalgia appeared on his face. This is something left by an old friend of mine. Okay, stop talking nonsense. The old monk put the pot on the boy's head, and the boy disappeared directly, just like a magic trick. Pot, there are only two of us left. A raccoon's tail appeared behind the old monk, and the pot trembled slightly, as if saying something. Yes, if that guy was here, he would definitely shout that he wanted to live and die with the village, and that he would never leave no matter what. The old monk took a last look at this unfamiliar town, turned around and jumped into the pot. In the temple on the deserted mountain, a warrior suddenly appeared in front of an ancient but sharp longsword. Man of light, even if I'm only a dead soul, I can still fight. The warrior drew his longsword and made a fighting posture. A faint light gradually appeared on his body. A true warrior will never give up fighting. Even if the enemy is endless darkness and ancient evil gods, I will go. Let me fight side by side with you again. This is the wish of Ida Kajiro Irailu. In a research institute near the coast, Sayaka looked at the darkness outside the window. There was no fear in her bright eyes, only calmness. Beside him, a figure emitting a faint golden light appeared. Ryusuke. The spaceship stopped at a safer place. The two people driving the spaceship looked at the incomparable darkness and could only silently bless Tigger. Tigger, you can defeat the god of the universe. Then, you can definitely defeat the evil god. Masakiki slowly opened his eyes. A huge cut was knocked open on his forehead, and blood could not stop flowing out. But he felt something touching him. No, this touch was Shut up, you stupid dog, the wound will get infected. Masakiki was about to push the puppy in front of him away, but then he gave up. Humanity was about to perish, and a mere wound infection was nothing. No. Masakiki looked at the puppy in front of him and said in shock, "How did you get in? No other life, except me, can enter this place." The puppy barked twice and picked up a bronze object from the side on Luluai. Two tentacles wrapped around Tigger's waist and slowly lifted Tigger, who had turned into a stone statue. This scene was spread by Gatangia using all possible means. He wanted to let the stupid humans see the wrath of God. The stone statue cracked. A dazzling purple light burst out from the stone statue, and the cracks on the stone statue became more and more, and the purple light on the stone statue became stronger and stronger. Finally, the stone statue turned into powder and drifted away with the wind, leaving only a crystal emitting a faint golden light floating in the air. People dared not, or did not want to believe what they saw, but Tigger's death was a foregone conclusion. People were dejected, and the host on TV said, "Tigger is dead. It seems that the extinction of mankind has become a foregone conclusion. Goodbye, everyone. Tigger. Tigger. Tigger." Adults have accepted the reality, but children have not. The light of hope in children's hearts will never be extinguished. Once again, fight as a human. On Luluai, Gatangia was still wondering why the previous attack did not destroy the crystal on Tigger's forehead. Gatangia, who didn't want to care about it, saw the golden light flashing on the crystal and felt extremely disgusted. He wanted to destroy this crystal, but at this time, a ray of light turned into a stream of light and poured into the crystal. Seeing this, Gatangia laughed in disgust. "What's the use of such ridiculous light of hope?" Exclamation mark. But Gatangia gradually couldn't laugh anymore, because there were really a lot of them. Countless rays of light flew towards her, and without exception, they all poured into the crystal on Tigger's forehead. Gatangia roared and launched various attack methods, but they were useless against the rays of light. Countless children raised their hands, and countless rays of light poured into the sky. Light, so much light. That year, we all became light. Tigger. Tigger. Dagu opened his tightly closed eyes and looked at the children running towards him. No, not just the children. In the sky, a beautiful golden phoenix was soaring with its wings spread. A father and daughter stood on its back, and there were countless golden floating tadpoles around the phoenix. A motorcyclist was riding a motorcycle with Mayumi on the back seat. Another father and daughter in blue robes held hands and ran towards him among the children. On the side, a samurai holding a long sword and an old man selling soba noodles smiled at him. A super ancient giant turned into light with his partner GD. Two girls held hands, and an old woman said to him, "Dagu, don't be so listless, smile, okay?" Xiaohang ran towards Dagu with the old lady on her back. Ryusuke and Sayaka were also in the crowd, and there was a child named Shizuma Mitsukuni the flying swallow, which carried Dagu, and accompanied Dagu for many years, turned into a ray of light, and the person driving it was Lina. The Atreides followed closely behind, and all the members of TPC, where the hawks or doves, shook hands this time. This is a real light. That year, we all turned into light. In the light of hope, the golden giant will return to the world, expel darkness, and bring light and love. Tigger. Dagu has revived. At this moment, Gatangia, who is not young, has not realized what happened here. The light of hope poured out from the shining crystal, and rays of faith formed Tigger's brand new body, full of hope and light, a golden body that brought gentleness and love to the world. Ultraman Tigger, shining type. A golden light flashed, and Tigger appeared in front of Gatangia. With an ordinary uppercut, Gatangia, who was hundreds of meters tall, was blown away by a punch. In midair, Gatangia quickly adjusted his body and flew directly up. Yes, this thing has the ability to fly. The overwhelming black fog poured out from every hole and every inch of Gatangia's body, which was thicker than when it covered the world before. Countless terrifying darkness rushed towards Tigger, trying to engulf Tigger in this endless darkness. Countless dark tentacles and countless dark pincers attacked Tigger in the black fog. Boom. A dazzling but not blinding golden light swept out from the darkness in all directions. Wherever the light reached, all darkness would disappear. Shining explosion. Gatangia screamed with a hint of uneasiness and anger. Although the dark tentacles were like hair, they could be regenerated at any time for Gatangia, and although the dark claws were no different from the dark tentacles, the guy before seemed to have no power to fight back against several tentacles or one claw. How could he? Tigger turned his body and kicked out. Countless people who turned into light kicked out at the same time. A spiral energy wave hit Gatangia, directly knocking Gatangia back to Lului. Lului was torn into pieces on the spot under this terrifying impact, but the seawater did not overflow. Another kick, and another golden spiral energy. Gatangia finally had no strength to maintain the majesty of God. God was in a state of arrogance, and it finally let out a scream, a wail of pain. I'm Tigger. I'm Tigger. We have become Tigger. Ha. The people who turned into light fought together against the enemy. At this moment, they were no longer divided by the north and south, no longer divided by race and nationality. At this moment, they all had a common identity, that is, Tigger, that is, light. Gatangia struggled to get up, but saw that the Ultraman in front of him was accumulating power. Hands crossed, pulled back, stretched, and flattened. A golden light turned into a straight line, connecting the hearts of humans and the hopes of all living beings. Shining Zippelian light. Gatangia was blown high into the sky and merged with the darkness it created. The last blow. The light poured into the timer on the chest, and a pillar of light that penetrated the sky and the earth burst out from the timer. The light of hope, eternal shine. The sky cleared up. Tigger looked up at the sky. This time, he did not fly away, but turned into countless light particles and dissipated between heaven and earth. He turned into a white cloud. It seemed that he was not there, but he was always guarding us in the sky. Just like our childhood that has disappeared, although it is no longer there, it will always exist in our hearts. You will always be our hero. Ultraman Tigger finale to the brilliant people end. The light in the hearts of humans is the real light. I didn't expect that it was not Tigger who really saved humans, but humans themselves. What you said seems to have some problems, but it is not wrong. Tigger is Dagu, and Dagu is humans. In fact, as Dagu said, as long as you want, everyone can become light. Ultraman Tigger finale Easter egg on. This broadcast is the last public screening of the 5th volume. After the broadcast, you can enter the screening room to draw cards. Some regrets, let's make up for it here. Just like in Goodbye Darkness, don't worry about whether it's reasonable or not. After thinking for a long time, I decided to let the Flashman come back. After all, the Flashman and Gazette are two individuals. Come back, the Earth is also the home of the Flashman. Chapter 492 You will always be my hero. The rescue team of the Victory team pulled Masaki and GD out of the sea, as well as the brothers in distress from the dolphin. The rescue team leader, to be honest, I have never seen anything so strange in all my time. First, there was a person who took a pet out to perform a mission, and then there was a person who crashed a submarine. Mr. Masaki. Drive Tango hurriedly went up to support the wounded Masaki Kigo. Are you okay? Director Soi's greeting made Masaki know that the other party had recognized him. Although Masaki did not need this kind of recognition, he still smiled and nodded. Victory. With Director Jigang's words, the atmosphere of the entire command room, no, the entire Atrides was completely ignited, and cheers continued. We humans have won all the victories. Captain Jiffeng said to Director Soi, we humans still have many places that we have not explored. Now is just the beginning. The light faded, and Agu came to the deck, while the others on the barren mountain, the heroic spirit of the samurai returned to the dilapidated temple, and continued his practice until the next time the world needed him, he would appear again, to slay demons and eliminate monsters. In the town, people returned here to rebuild their homes. The wizard held the pot, and did not retract his raccoon tail. Suddenly, he lowered his head to look at the pot, and said to himself, did something just enter the pot? In the shelter, people filed out to feel the wonderful light and the long lost fresh air. Where is that big sister? The little girl was holding a balloon, a little puzzled. She went to save the world with Tigger. Chris Mayer said to the girl, okay, go find your parents. Outside the gate of another shelter, the old man asked reluctantly, you are leaving so soon, won't you stay a few more days? Red shook his head, and the blue gem on his forehead radiated dazzling brilliance under the sun. Yes, you also have your family. Go, they must be waiting for you. The old man was a little disappointed, but still smiled, and said goodbye to Xiaohan. Red's chest flashed a few times, and the old man understood what the other party meant. What? You will come back to see me during the Abon festival, and maybe bring a few friends? That's great. No trouble, but won't the road be too far? In space, a spaceship has flown far away, and the people of the super ancient civilization have also left the Earth with a phoenix, and flew into the deep space of the universe. The lightning people also left. Maybe one day, they will be able to come back here again, and won't have to leave again. And that day may not be far away. On the deck of the Atlas, Lina ran and hugged Daiko, and the other members of the victory team followed behind them. I'm telling you, I really want to see Ryusuke. Hori said to Shinjo, but he didn't expect that this time his words would be recognized by Shinjo. Yes, I really want to see Takuma carrying Mayumi. But how on earth is this? You idiot. Shinjo gave Hori a head slap. At this time, don't think about those things, okay? Everyone can come back, isn't it great? Yes, it's me who's stuck in a dead end. Daiko and Lina hugged each other tightly, and Daiko whispered in Lina's ear, I heard your voice. Under the gaze of his teammates, Daiko and Lina slowly separated. Dagu took out the magic stick that had turned into stone, and slowly placed it in Lina's hand like a proposal. After the petrified magic stick was placed in Lina's hand, it immediately flew away in the wind under the blowing of the sea breeze. Lina looked at Dagu with a look of heartache in her eyes. You can't turn into Ultraman anymore, right? In fact, everyone can turn into light by their own power. You have become one too, right? Okay, everyone. Shinjo had a camera in his hand at some point, and he shouted loudly, let's take a photo together. Director, come together. Director Soe, who came to the deck, pulled Director Jigen next to him and walked over. Director Jigen was still reluctant, and said that he would help take pictures. In response, Hori said that this camera has an automatic shooting function, and it also has a fixed bracket, so there is no problem. So, Director Jigen came to Director Soe with a mode of reluctance on the surface, but actually very willing in his heart. Okay, everyone, 1, 2, 3, cheese. You are always my hero. This public screening is officially over. It's over. I always feel very sad. Yeah, it's like something precious is over. Okay, life always has to move forward. By the way, how many points did you save this time? Constantine looked at his already 3-digit points and a chance to draw a card for a directional selection, and was extremely excited. This time, he can finally get rid of that shitty lung cancer. The Kingdom of Light. In front of Ultra Father, there was an extra large gift box. Ultra Father, thank you for participating in the commentary before. This is a small gift from the screening room. You're welcome. Ultra Father took the gift box, and the packaging on the gift box began to unwrap automatically. A small ball of light flew out of it, and merged into Ultra Father's timer. The next moment, a dazzling light like the plasma spark tower bloomed here. The strong light made even the Ultra brothers who were familiar with the plasma spark tower unable to bear it for a while, and they were considering whether to make a cloak like in Ultra Galaxy Legend. The dazzling light turned into a pillar of light that reached the sky. The residents of the Kingdom of Light looked at the pillar of light on the plasma spark tower with puzzled expressions. Although they didn't know what happened, the pure light contained in the pillar of light made them feel at ease. After a while, the light dissipated, and the residents discussed it. Ultra Dojo. My light skills have become much stronger. Mine too. Great. Now it's almost certain that I will pass the Space Guard's assessment. The soldiers in training cheered and celebrated, and on the plasma spark tower, the plasma spark absorbed the pure light and became even more dazzling. What a coincidence. I graduated when I wrote this chapter. The wind blew away the godlight rod, just like blowing away my youth. It's over. It's really over. My youth is really over. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 493, The Lord's Trial by Fire, The Old Hidden Confrontation, and Dr. Manhattan's Hell Card. Taro stepped in front of Tarikia, but Tarikia broke free from Taro's protection. He wanted to face the impact alone. He didn't want to be protected by Taro anymore. Captain Zoffy was the first to rush over to check on Ultra Father's condition, but he saw that Ultra Father was shining brightly at the moment. The most important thing was that no matter how Ultra Father covered up before, the scar on his waist still made Ultra Father's spirit unable to reach the highest level. But now, Ultra Father's momentum has reached a perfect height. My injury is healed. This understated sentence revealed a fact that shocked all the Ultramen present. That is, Ultra Father's old injury was healed. In other words, the strongest fighting force of the Kingdom of Light is back online today. Ultra Father touched the scar that was cut by Emperor. It had been on his body for tens of thousands of years and had been suppressing his strength. His biggest weakness, a stubborn disease that had followed him for tens of thousands of years, was finally repaired today. At this moment, the artifacts of the Kingdom of Light responded at the same time as Ultra Father, the Ultra Key, the Ultra Bell, the Plasma Spark Tower Energy Crystal, and the Sword of Truth. The strength that had been suppressed for a long time also broke out completely. If Ultra Father before the battle with Emperor was 1, then Ultra Father who was injured by Emperor for tens of thousands of years and could not improve his strength was 10. Then his current combat power is about 100. If all the artifacts are carried on his body, with the Ultra Key in the left hand, the Sword of Truth in the right hand, the Ultra Bell on the head, the Energy Crystal of the Plasma Spark Tower tied on the back, and finally the Power of Truth turned on with an Ultra Dumbbell on the waist, Ultra Father's combat power will be at least 10,086. And this data is still increasing. King AU, who was far away on K76, couldn't help but nod and praise. I said it a long time ago. He has the potential to achieve the ultimate. In the Dark Nebula in the distance, Emperor, who was waiting for the completion of the Dark Magic Armor, suddenly had the word danger on his forehead. Your Majesty. The Yabo people came in like an old eunuch and saluted and reported, a strange human came to see you. He brought a magical prop that he said could give the Dark Armor more powerful power. Screening room. Hickory. Ace came to the screening room excitedly and told Hickory everything that happened in the Kingdom of Light. Is the captain's injury really completely healed? Yes, yes. Ace's expression was particularly excited. Ultra Father's old injury was not a secret in the Kingdom of Light. The residents of the Kingdom of Light who had taken history classes knew that they also hoped that the captain, who was like a father, could recover. It was not because of his strength, but because they respected and loved Ultra Father from the bottom of their hearts, just like children hope that their parents can be healthy forever. And after the captain's injury was healed, he briefly burst out the Power of Truth, which greatly improved our strength. Ace's body radiated a faint golden light, and a golden body of Buddha appeared. The main body of the golden statue is still Ace, but he is wearing a gorgeous cassock. Ace is performing a Buddhist ceremony with one hand, with a kind face and a gentle look, looking down at all living beings, like a kind Buddha who cannot bear to see the sufferings of the world and wants to save all living beings. But if you change the angle, you can see a golden halo in Ace's hand, and if you look at Ace's face from this angle, it is no longer a kind Buddha, but a furious Vajra with a face full of anger. The Bodhisattva lowers his eyebrows to show mercy to the 6 paths. The Vajra is furious and subdues the 4 demons. As Ace said, his compassion, mercy and love are all for kind people. If it is a wicked person like the Yabo people who endangers the peace of the universe, he will only be greeted by the thunder and anger of the Vajra. Is this the legendary 6 Zang golden body? Actually, it's just a prototype. Ace retracted the golden body and said, under the illumination of the captain's true power, the strength of each of our warriors has increased to varying degrees. Although the influence of the true power will gradually disappear with the passage of time, after this time, the strength of the entire residents of the Kingdom of Light will definitely be improved as a whole. In this way, we can better protect the peace of this universe. It's a pity that you are not at the scene, Hickory. It's okay. Hickory was only happy for the Kingdom of Light. As for his own strength, Hikari was actually very open-minded. I'm just a scientist. I don't need too much power. I think the importance of scientific inventions is the same as that of your space guard soldiers. If I can invent some props that greatly enhance combat effectiveness, or more effective people's livelihood props, such as the energy network that can trap Belia in Ultra Galaxy Legend, then some planets that are not very strong will also have the power to protect themselves. Powerful warriors are hard to come by, but if I invent a technological invention that can be passed on to the entire universe, then the effect it can have is much greater than having one more powerful swordsman in the Kingdom of Light. Compared to the cosmic swordsman, I still prefer to be an ordinary scientist. Constantine quickly ran to the card drawer, operated it a few times, turned his head and asked, "How can I make sure that I draw something that cures lung cancer? I just tried it, and there can only be one keyword, which means that it can't be a prop that cures lung cancer, but it can be said to be treatment, or a related word like lung cancer. Well, to cure lung cancer, the keyword must be treatment. But treatment may also mean drawing a skill like healing. What if it can only cure external injuries? How many points do you have now?" Constantine said after taking a glance. "More than 100, almost 200. So many. I have been actively answering questions since I came in, and I have never dared to use my points. What's wrong with a little more? If you ask me, why don't you just choose the keyword immortality?" Peter said, "Your problem is that you will go to hell after you die, and you have offended all the demons in hell. So if you don't die, you won't have to go to hell." Constantine heard this and found that it made sense. Even if I cured lung cancer, it would be useless if I couldn't get a job in heaven. I still have to die, and I still have to see Satan after I die. So, I just don't have to die! Exclamation mark. "Why don't you choose to immigrate across worlds?" The Lord's sinister voice sounded. Although his voice was hoarse and unpleasant, it contained a hint of bewitching intent. "Although you have a few friends in your original world, they are just casual acquaintances. Since you can't escape death anyway, why don't you just change places? Have you offended the hells in other worlds? If possible, you can also come to my world. I still have some face in this 3-acre land. I'm the ancestor of black wizards. If you come to me, I guarantee that with your talent and my great cultivation, you will be the greatest black wizard in history. By then, I will grant you a ray of magic energy, and you will evolve into a complete black creature. Not to mention a small lung cancer. Even if you only have one soul left, I can reshape a brand new body for you. How powerful is it?" Peter asked in surprise. "This involves genetic modification. I'm the greatest black spirit wizard. The greatest demon. The dragon soul of the Holy Lord has recovered to an opaque and textured state, instead of the translucent state that was seen for the first time, and was about to end in the next second. It kept swimming in the air, as if enjoying this moment without shackles. I once used the simplest magic potion to give one of my subordinates a half-demon body, so that he had dragon horns, dragon scales, and fish fins." Constantine keenly noticed that there was something wrong with the Holy Lord's words, but he didn't say it. If there was really no other way, Constantine might really have to seek refuge with the Holy Lord. But in Constantine's mind, the Holy Lord was definitely the worst choice. He already knew that by giving him a wisp of magic energy and becoming a complete black spirit creature, wouldn't this just make him a follower of the Holy Lord? Exclamation mark. If there was no other way, he wouldn't be unable to accept it. Just find a way to pit the boss to death. But now there are so many ways. Why should he jump into a fire pit? The Holy Lord narrowed his eyes. He noticed his slip of the tongue, but he didn't care, because he could see that Constantine was tempted. That's right, Constantine's real problem is not the threat of death, but the threat from a group of demons in hell. Providing a method by himself is undoubtedly the best solution. Unless Constantine obtains the power to blow up the entire hell with his bare hands. Otherwise, he has to find a way to run. It doesn't matter if he can't come to me. If he comes, it will be icing on the cake. If he doesn't come, he can also help me explore the way. This is the point. Constantine is a small stone I used to throw in the process of throwing stones to test the water. The Lord is not afraid that Constantine will not be moved. He has no better choice. The two old hidden completed several confrontations in a smile, and at this moment, a blue light came on. Hello. A word without human emotion resounded in the screening room. Dr. Manhattan, wearing a suit, walked into the screening room. He frowned. Although he could sense his clone left in the world, he could not determine the coordinates of the two worlds in this way. Dr. Manhattan didn't know if this was intentional by the screening room. Are you Dr. Manhattan? Yes. Dr. Manhattan's appearance did not surprise anyone, because they were already used to seeing a scientist from the Kingdom of Light who did not want to reveal his name. What attracted them even more was the Hell card that Dr. Manhattan was about to draw. Chapter 494 Invitation from the Great Lord. Hell card, an invitation to the Zukes and Sword formation from Wu Pangu Hangjin Human Emperor Jiataoshi Great Lord has his Wu Wake Big Bear coconut milk jelly with the flavor of smelly fish and shrimp Jiu Baoming. Introduction, an abbreviated invitation from Wu, middle, Ming. He invites you to take a walk in the Zukes and Sword formation. Good luck. Effect, same as above. What is this? I don't understand, but I'm greatly shocked. Pangu is a creator god in many myths of the ancient eastern countries. Of the latter, I only know of the coconut milk jelly, but I have never eaten the one with the flavor of stinky fish and rotten shrimp. Jarvis. Tony chose to let his artificial intelligence butler come to analyze together. The analysis is complete. Hangjin is a character in the ancient novel Investiture of the Gods from an ancient oriental country, not a character in ancient mythology. The immortal execution sword formation is also an item in Investiture of the Gods. The owner in the novel is Master Tangshan. The immortal execution sword formation is divided in two. Omitted. It is said that the four swords have the power to shatter the entire world and return the world to its chaotic state at the beginning of the world. So powerful. However, due to the limitations of the imagination of the ancients, many data in this novel seem unreasonable. For example, Master Tangshan, who has the power to destroy the world, and several other masters who are equal to him. Their expressive power is only to flatten a mountain range, but Jiang Ziya, a mortal, has the ability to freeze Mount Kishan overnight. This is normal. The times are different. If it were written now, the 13,500 Jinruai Jingu Bang might be made by the fusion of 13,500 neutron stars. Isn't the golden hoop the weapon of the Monkey King? There is also a Monkey King in Investiture of the Gods. No, the Investiture of the Gods and Journey to the West are two books, and they cannot be mixed up. Let's count according to the highest mark. If the other party really has the ability to restart the world, then there's no need to worry. Dr. Manhattan said lightly, I can do it too. Hiss, is this what the big boss said? Has restarting the universe become a basic ability of the strong these days? Dr. Manhattan accepted the Hell card and turned around to draw out his 10 points. A dazzling golden light burst out, and a white card with a gold border appeared in Dr. Manhattan's hand. Prop card, a pack of books from the multiverse. Level, gold inlaid white card. Introduction, after using it, you will get a pack of books from various multiverses. Why is this still inlaid with gold? Because this card is very precious. It comes from countless multiverses, but its own value is not very high, so it is a gold inlaid white card. That means that there may be gold inlaid green and blue cards in the future. That's right. I always feel that it's not surprising that you can do this. Loki ran to the card drawing machine. He thought for a long time and determined that the directional card drawing in the screening room could only be determined by one word. In other words, he wanted a prop that could improve his Frost Giant bloodline, which was not possible. He could only choose keywords, Frost Giant, bloodline, or improvement. Thanks to the screening room, Frost Giant counts as a word. But Loki felt that he could not guarantee that he would draw something useful, and the Frost Giant's bloodline had been developed to a very high level. Now it is better to develop something else than to continue to develop the bloodline. For example, Godhead. He himself is the god of lies and fraud, which is a godhead of a subordinate god, and his future godhead is the god of fire. Since Loki knew his life experience and bloodline, the more he thought about his godhead of fire, the more uncomfortable he felt. Hiss. A frost giant, to be a god of fire. This is more or less a problem. But he can't change his godhead. The source of the power of the Aesir is the godhead, which is given by the world tree. Odin's godhood is the god of thunder, and Thor is not yet a complete god of thunder, but the god of storms and weather. When Odin dies and Thor takes over, he can truly inherit the godhood of the god of thunder and fully awaken. At that time, it will be easy to release thunder and lightning with bare hands, instead of the current situation, where Thor's hammer is needed to assist in flying or discharging thunder, making Thor look like a hammer god instead of a god of thunder. The real god of thunder doesn't need a hammer to provide the power to control thunder. He is the master of thunder himself. But then again, Loki himself really doesn't want the godhood of the god of fire, so he positioned the keyword this time as godhood. Then he directly drew 4 times in a row. Item card, how to condense at the godhood, book, level, green card, introduction, from the 800-year compulsory education series of books on the continent of gods. It teaches students how to condense the godhood. After reading this introduction, Loki was not calm at all. He summoned the book and took a simple look and found that some of the theories in it were actually completely correct. In other words, this book really teaches people how to condense the godhood. And on that continent of gods, this book is still a common commodity. What kind of world is this that treats this kind of information, which is top secret even in Asgard, as a compulsory elementary school textbook? Loki quickly put away the book and then looked at the other 3 cards drawn in a row. Skill card, faith refining technique, level, green card, introduction, a basic spell from the continent of gods, a skill that every demigod must learn, which refines faith into pure energy, allowing gods to absorb faith and strengthen their own power while keeping their souls unaffected by faith. Item card, stealing the sky and changing the sun pill, level, purple, introduction, stealing the sky and changing the sun is a metaphor for secretly replacing the truth with a false one, covering up the truth of things in order to achieve the purpose of deception and confusion. The effect of stealing the sky and changing the sun pill is to put you into a state of suspended animation, and the effect is so strong that it can even deceive a single universe level strongman. Item card, theory of temperature level, white introduction. This is a book about temperature and heat. Purple. Loki couldn't hide his excitement, but this thing didn't seem to have much to do with Godhead. Wait a minute. Loki suddenly thought of something and asked, is it only the first shot that can enjoy the treatment of a fixed word? As expected of Loki, so smart. TSK Loki felt a little unhappy, but he earned it after all. The 2 rewards of Godhead condensation and faith refining were of great use, and although the stealing heaven and changing the sun pill was not useful for the time being, it was at least a purple card. A purple card with 100 points. This is a symbol of status in the screening room. Chapter 495, Nightmare cards gathered together, foreshadowing retracted. This is a video on demand ticket. Peter exclaimed as he looked at the golden ticket in his hand. Sometimes I'm so surprised. Loki, who was holding a purple card, suddenly felt that the purple card in his hand was not so good. He had just got the purple card and had not had time to show it off, but the more precious video on demand ticket was drawn. Although purple cards are rare, they are also valuable. Since ancient times, things that are priceless are the most precious. Money can be earned, but money cannot buy what you want. For example, video on demand tickets. This thing can only be drawn. Me too. Ace also walked over waving a golden ticket in his hand. At this moment, Loki only felt that the entire theater was targeting him. Aha. Tony's hand also flashed with blue light. After experiencing the torture of countless pain cards and nightmare cards and the humiliation of a grey card, Tony Stark finally drew the first blue card in the official server. Servant card, symbiote, unnamed, level, blue, introduction. Symbiotes are extremely magical creatures. They have different origins, attributes, and abilities. Some symbiotes come from 4-dimensional space, some come from the ancient god of chaos, the god of symbiotes, and some symbiotes suddenly appear in this world, just like they suddenly fell from the sky, but they all have similar abilities, such as learning ability. PS. Although it is a servant card, you'd better not really treat it as a servant. Since ancient times, there have been kings killed by slaves. Is this thing dangerous? Tony looked at the white liquid pattern on the card and asked, will it devour the host? I do know a little about symbiotes. Strange said, although symbiotes are not creatures from other dimensions, their creator, Null, the god of symbiotes, has always been on Kamatage's prevention list. Although I don't know that there are other symbiotes that come from the 4-dimensional space, symbiotes are a blank sheet of paper. When they are born, they will attach themselves to a host, then learn and copy the host's personality and strengthen the host. In simple terms, if a symbiote attaches itself to a good person, it will be a good symbiote, and if it attaches itself to an evil person, it will be an evil symbiote. That's right. Loki also interrupted at this moment. The symbiotes in our world joined forces to overthrow their creator, Null, the god of symbiotes, because some symbiotes felt that Null's plan was evil after attaching themselves to kind creatures, so they overthrew them. These symbiotes later united to form an organization. But some symbiotes that possess evil people have turned into evil symbiotes, and the organizations established by good symbiotes are to fight against evil symbiotes. I see. Then there's no problem. Looking at Tony Stark's face full of confidence, Strange's mouth twitched, and he quickly pulled Captain America to a corner and whispered to Captain America, "Captain, excuse me, you'd better let the symbiote possess you when you go back." The personality of a symbiote depends on the host. If it possesses you, your world will have one more superhero, maybe more than one. But if it possesses Tony Stark, a symbiote version of Ultron may appear. "I'll try my best," Captain America said with a helpless expression, "but you can have more confidence in Tony. Although he has a lot of problems, when he needs him, he will be the most reliable teammate, and you can rest assured that your teammates can leave their backs to him on the battlefield. But the symbiote will continue to magnify his problems." Strange glanced at Tony again, and then said, "He is arrogant enough. If he is more arrogant, he will become conceited. The influence of the symbiote is passive. An arrogant person is not terrible. What is terrible is that he also has the wisdom of Tony Stark." Captain America stopped talking. He knew that Tony had transformed a bunch of equipment that could break into terrorist bases with a bunch of daily necessities that could be bought in convenience stores. Captain America did not even doubt that, even if Tony went bankrupt and wandered the streets, he would be able to return you a robot army in 3 days if he was given a garbage dump. "I know. Thank you for reminding me, Doctor Strange. For our world. By the way, what did you draw?" "A set of 20th century comics. Not very precious, but I still like it very much." Captain America took out a white card and asked, "What about you, Doctor Strange?" Strange's mouth twitched. He was not like Captain America who had no pressure. He also wanted a nightmare card. Strange always felt that he drew nightmare cards very frequently. Strange is not the only one who wants to draw a nightmare card. Diana picked up her things with a curious look on her face. Item card. Unreliable combat power detector. Level. White. Introduction. Are you worried that your opponent is pretending to be a pig and eating a tiger? Are you worried that an insignificant old man is actually a supermaster? With this combat power detector, these will no longer be your worries. Use the combat power detector to detect how strong your opponent is. PS. The values detected by the combat power detector are for reference only. After all, idealistic outbreaks are not uncommon. PS of PS. Since it is an unstable version, the possibility of the instrument going crazy cannot be ruled out. Good stuff. Bruce Wayne's eyes lit up. He drew a prop called a reverse progression scanner. Simply put, it can reverse the manufacturing drawings of a piece of equipment. If the combat power scanner can be reversed and carried on his own private satellite, wouldn't it be possible to detect unstable factors around the world? Exclamation mark. Diana, I'll give it to you. Diana handed the combat power detector to Bruce and said, compared to that little prop, I like this one better. Nightmare card. Ticket to the Golden Man Arena. Introduction. The Golden Man Arena is an arena made by a golden man, where you can see battles between living things on non-living things from countless worlds. Effect. At 13:44 on a Friday, after leaving the screening room, you will be teleported to the Golden Man Arena to become a gladiator. You must get enough points to return to your original world. The good news is that the screening room is still a bit prestigious there, so you can get a lot of startup funds. Actually, I don't think I need startup funds. Chapter 496. The next. It shouldn't be that bad, right? The Lord looked at his nightmare card and couldn't help but think of some not so good things. Nightmare card. Dreams come true. Introduction. Dreams are disordered. You never know what kind of dream you will have, and now, they are about to come true. If it is a good dream, then it's great, but if it is a nightmare, then I can only wish you don't dream of Ludongban or Xiaoyu. Effect. Your dream will happen in reality, no matter what it is. Also, if you don't dream within 48 hours, then this effect will be forcibly activated. The Lord's expression became very ugly. It would be better if the cinema didn't say it. The more he said it, the harder it would be for the Lord to erase the figure of Ludongban from his mind. The figure holding the pure Yang sword and sealing himself into hell. The Lord's soul shuddered fiercely. Forget it, just don't sleep and don't dream. And the card he drew this time is not a loss. Skill card. Mind collision. Level. Blue card. Introduction. You have an apple. Your friend has an apple. You exchange apples. You still only have one apple, but you have a good idea. Your friend also has a good idea. You exchange apples. You will both have two good ideas. Using this skill, you will merge and communicate with the target you choose, and you can quickly learn the other's skills. PS. Limited to learning. The Lord felt that this skill should be good for himself who only has a soul, but it is better not to merge with those guys. Moreover, in the previous screening, humans showed him a different kind of power, a power that can command countless strong humans to work for him, even if the user's body is extremely weak, and dare not resist, even if they are humiliated in various ways. The Lord also wants to learn that kind of power called capital. And now, this card is just right. There is no human, except it in hell. But the Lord believes that he will be able to break free from hell one day. But before that, think about how not to dream about Ludongban. No. A heart-wrenching scream sounded. It was Magneto. What's wrong? Peter rushed to Magneto's side as soon as possible and saw that the card in Magneto's hand had a few words written on it. Nightmare card. Ability elimination. Introduction. From a powerful mutant who controls magnetism to suddenly turning back into an ordinary human with no power at all. This sense of difference must be more painful than death for you who are constantly pursuing power. Effect. The mutant genes in your body will not be eliminated, but all your superpowers will be eliminated without any trace. No, 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 no. Eric looked like he was about to collapse. For him, the powerful power brought by the mutant gene was everything, but now this power was going to be eliminated, and it was not to eliminate his mutant genes directly, but to retain the mutant genes, while losing the power. This was more painful than killing him. For me, the mutant gene was eliminated, or my power was simply cleared. I don't feel anything. It's not a big problem. You get out of here. Eric roared almost crazily. What do you know? What do you know? You are just a waste who has lived for more than 100 years and waited for death. How can you understand my great ideals? Logan's face was a little ugly after being scolded by Magneto, but he was pulled away by Captain America and others when he wanted to get angry. Peter squatted beside Eric to accompany him. After a long time, seeing that Eric's mood was slightly stable, Peter stuffed a card into Eric's hand and said, although this is not as good as your mutant ability, I don't have anything better here. Prop card. Supreme Induction Heart Sutra. Level. Purple card. Introduction. Materialize a Supreme Induction Heart Sutra. Read the scriptures and sense the heart. The highest level can reach the unity of heaven and man and gain the power to control the world. The power to control the world. After persuading Eric, Peter ran to Logan again. Mr. Logan, Mr. Eric is just. I'm fine. Logan took a deep puff of his cigar and said, I've lived for more than 100 years, and I'm not going to get angry with a young boy who's less than 30 years old. You're just trying to persuade him. Captain America said helplessly, Eric is very thoughtful, and we don't know his past. You just said it's gone. He might be angry because he touched a taboo in his heart. Yes, Mr. Hickory once told me that morality is used to restrain oneself, not to restrain others. I think many times we need to change our perspective and think about the problem from the other person's perspective. Peter said seriously, some things seem insignificant in your eyes, but maybe this inconspicuous thing is an extremely precious item to the other person. How about a plush toy? In your eyes, it's just a mass-produced item in the supermarket worth a few dollars or even a few cents, but for its owner, maybe this is the last gift given to him by his late wife or some important person. This plush toy has no value to you, but to him, it may be a treasure more precious than life. Logan nodded, but didn't say much. Seeing that the atmosphere was a bit tense, Ace said to Peter, "Peter, please order it quickly." "Mr. Ace, I'm not in a hurry." "Okay." Peter took out the golden ticket and said to the theater, "I want to use the order ticket." Peter Parker used the order ticket. The order was successful, and Bonds, the adapted, was played 1 minute later. Bonds, the adapted? Unlike the easy to understand WandaVision, the content of this broadcast made everyone confused for a while. The word Bond is too broad. On the contrary, the word adapted is easier to understand. Peter and Ace Shikari all know that adapted is a synonym for people who are fused with the light of Noah. In other words, this story tells the story of the successive generations of the adapted of Noah's light. Generations? Yes. Hikari said, "When the King of Ultra gave me the adapted suit and asked me to give it to Peter, he said that there are actually many adapted of Noah's light, and Peter is just one of them. In other words, this is the story of the battles of my predecessors." Bonds next, first, starting, right square bracket. Chapter 497. Don't set flags casually, it will cost lives. In a dark corridor, one or more black shadows flashed by quickly. The yellow nuclear energy symbol and the huge warning font all showed that this was an absolute forbidden area. This was an isolated research institute. The guards inside were shooting frantically. There was an unconcealable fear on their faces, as if they were not facing an enemy, but a demon. The flames were spitting out, and the rain of bullets was whistling towards a black shadow. Fuck. What kind of monster is that? Logan didn't even swallow a mouthful of wine and directly spat it out. He relied on his strong dynamic vision and years of adaptability in combat to barely see the other party's appearance in the darkness and the flashes of gunfire. It was a monster with festering skin, eyes as round as light bulbs, and most importantly, it was particularly ugly. Peter, are you okay, Peter? Peter shivered violently, took a deep breath and said, "It's okay, I just felt the light in my body become extremely active when I saw that monster." "Did the light in your body react to that creature?" Hikaru put his hand on Peter's chest, feeling the leaping of light particles in his body. After a moment, Hikaru said, "The light particles are very active. This is a screening in the theater. It seems that the monster in it has a deep connection with Ultraman Noah." "Not necessarily." Peter guessed. "The light in my body is the light of Noah, and this is a story of previous generations of fit people. That monster should have brought a tough battle to this generation of next as fit people." Image continues. The firepower that was enough to beat an elephant into a pulp had no effect on the monster because it was indoors and in a research institute. The guards were not equipped with heavy firepower such as RPGs, although even that level of heavy firepower might not be able to cause any damage to the monster in front of them. In a secret room, a female researcher in a white coat was loading a cyan liquid ammunition into a special gun. Outside, the original battle had turned into a one-sided massacre. In the darkness, the monster also showed its true appearance. It was a monster like a lizard. Suddenly, the monster that wanted to break the wall and leave here suddenly screamed. A needle-like bullet appeared on its back, and the cyan liquid injected into the monster's body caused the monster far more pain than the bullet. The person who fired the gun was the female researcher before. The monster wailed in pain, and a human face actually emerged from the monster's body. The man's face showed an extremely painful expression. The female researcher obviously knew the other party. When she saw this face, the trigger that should have been pulled in her hand also paused for a second, and the other party seized this second and quickly jumped into the sea to escape. "What the hell is that?" "Alien." Peter called out the other party's name. "Alien beast." My previous opponents, the spider demon and the two-headed rat, are both alien beasts. According to the information given to me by Ultraman Noah, alien beasts are extremely terrifying monsters. Not only do they have an infection ability far beyond that of viruses, but as long as there is only one cell left, they can recover into a monster more than 50 meters tall. Not really. Can one cell recover? That's right. Peter thought carefully and said, at the beginning, I unconsciously released the light skill to destroy the spider demon, but when dealing with the two-headed rat, the Vishanti fire I used only burned the two-headed rat into charcoal, and did not completely kill it. There was still a piece of skull left, which also gave the two-headed rat a chance to recover and evolve the next day. Although I later awakened the power of Nexter and beat it without even a cell nucleus left, it still let it kill people. It's not your fault. You didn't know about this at the time. Didn't you completely destroy the two-headed rat later? The video continues. Bailey Base. A fighter jet flew towards the sky. This is a military airport. Mackie, this week is the last week. Yeah. Two men in military uniforms were walking side by side here, and one of them said to the other named Mackie, Mackie, you are a natural Falcon pilot. Are you really going to retire? I have made up my mind. Mackie Shunichi said, I want to spend more time with my family. Jimin will be 6 years old next month. I have not been able to accompany him well. As a father, I'm really derelict in my duty. Yeah, family. Mackie's teammate said, time flies so fast. It seems like it was just yesterday when we drank all night at the birthday party. Mackie suddenly said, the older you get, the faster time flies. You little brat, you dare to say I'm old. Are you looking for death? After a while of playing around, the teammates once again seriously asked Mackie about his retirement. Mackie told him that he saw a fighter jet when he was 7 years old. Since then, Mackie has buried a dream of flying deep in his heart. After hearing this, the teammate wanted to persuade him, but was interrupted by Mackie. With the increase of age, the conflict between dreams and reality will become more and more intense. When Mackie was 7 years old, he saw a fighter plane that looked like a silver meteor, and fell in love with it deeply, but reality did not allow him to continue his dream. Because his son, Jimin's illness has become more and more serious. Just as Mackie said, it is very likely that Jimin will not be able to reach the time to continue his dream. If he gets sick again, the probability of Jimin being able to be saved is only 20%, let alone 20%. Even if it is 99%, Mackie can't accept it. This is not a lottery, this is whether his son can wake up in the next rescue. If possible, Mackie is willing to use his life to never go to heaven in exchange for an increase in probability, even if it is only 1%. But this is impossible. Even optimistically estimated, Jimin only has 1 year left. The air is a little quiet. As Mackie's best friend, he doesn't plan to persuade him anymore. But at this moment, the alarm rang. The two of them stood up and ran towards the cabin. This was a conditioned reflex formed over the years, and this alarm was the highest level of alarm. Something big happened. The two of them boarded the Falcon, and Mackie was about to complete his last flight in the army. Looking at Mackie on the screen, everyone suddenly felt a wave of deep malice. Don't set flags for others casually. It will cost lives. Chapter 498. Can Noah also escape the curse? Exclamation mark. The fighter jets are dispatched. Kirashima looks at the target on the radar and can't help but feel confused. Is this thing really a fighter jet? Just then, Kirashima's plane suddenly began to shake violently, and all kinds of data dials began to become chaotic. What's wrong, Kirashima? I don't know. The instrument suddenly failed. Kirashima, return quickly. Mackie said to Kirashima, if you can't control it and it crashes, leave it to me. Hikari and Ace looked at each other. After hearing the word crash, they suddenly had a strange feeling. It was as if they saw the Hiei number 1. Kirashima's plane quickly returned. Mackie looked at the target that was about to enter the field of vision and was very alert, but at this moment, the target on the radar suddenly disappeared. And in the next second, a huge red ball suddenly appeared in front of Mackie Shunichi's plane. And then, boom, pop. X2 looking at the brilliant sparks on the screen, Hikari and Ace covered their faces in pain. This Nimmer, it hit again. Ace. Why don't we go back and talk to Zoffy about adding flying machines to the training of the Space Guard so that those who fail the test are not allowed to go on missions? Okay, I'll go back and ask Brother Zoffy. Forget it. I'd better go back and develop an intelligent driving system. I think this is more reliable. Is this a tradition of your Ultraman family? Loki even started to mock. The first Ultraman who landed on Earth collided with the Earthlings' plane. The light of your Ultraman family's god, Ultraman Noah, can actually collide with the Earthlings. This is not a tradition that no one believes. Hikari began to speculate. Could it be that their Ultraman family, or even the Ultraman of the entire multiverse, whether in human form or in real form, is good at crashing planes, which was passed down from Noah? Image continues. Shunichi Maki opened his eyes in a green passage. He seemed to have a feeling that he knew he was going to die. But he can't die. He still has a wife and children. I can't die. How can I die in this place? Shunichi Maki's strong desire to survive attracted a red light, which illuminated Shunichi Maki's face red. The red light turned into a pattern similar to wings, and then red lines extended from the pattern. The lines were like blood vessels, constructing the structure of a humanoid creature. You can listen to the BGM at this time. Fuck, the more I listen, the more familiar it sounds. In the light, a giant of light and Shunichi Maki looked at each other. That's Nexter. Peter took out the Trust Evolution. The Trust Evolution even reacted to Nexter on the screen. Nexter looked at Shunichi Maki and seemed to be turning his head to observe the surroundings. I remember I didn't take a plane at that time. How did Noah's light find me? Peter immediately asked a soul-searching question. The two Ultra Warriors who dared to face all darkness wanted to stuff their heads into their chests under Peter's question, and even their silver faces were a little red. It's outrageous. Too outrageous. We need to do flight training and intelligence systems. We need to do both. We must break the curse of the crash. The video continues. The rescue team of Bailey Base quickly dispatched and found the Falcon on fire in the mountains. The pilot's condition is uncertain. In Maki-shun's family, his wife just received this information, and Maki-shun's son Maki-Jamu opened the door at the same time and told his mother that he had a nightmare. Looking at her son, Maki-shun's wife did not dare to tell Jamu the truth and could only take Jamu back to sleep. Near the mountain where Maki crashed, the man and woman in a private house were watching the news about the crash of the defense team's plane. Suddenly, the hostess screamed, and even the tabla in her hands fell to the ground. Is it another alien beast? Seeing the terrified hostess, Peter suddenly became nervous. The previous alien beast jumped into the sea and escaped. But when the picture turned to the other side, Peter and others were relieved. That's not a monster, it's the wounded Shunichi Maki. Wasn't Hayata fine after fusing with Ultraman? Why did Shunichi Maki become so miserable after fusing with Noah? Maybe it's because Noah's light is special? The video continues. Can you lend me your phone? After saying this, Maki couldn't hold on any longer and passed out. It's unknown how long it took before Maki regained consciousness, and he was already in the hospital. Shunichi Maki's wife Rangzi woke up instantly after hearing the voice, and seeing that Shunichi Maki wanted to get up, she quickly helped him back. Rangzi wanted to call the nurse, but Shunichi pushed Rangzi back and asked, Rangzi, tell me, how did I survive? How could Rangzi know how Shunichi survived? But after hearing Shunichi's voice, G-Men quickly stood up and hugged him. Shunichi didn't have time to think about his own affairs and hurriedly comforted his son. According to the results of the detailed examination, there is nothing abnormal. The doctor looked at the results of the MRI and said to Shunichi, it's better to say that you are almost uninjured and very healthy. But, the doctor said with some doubts, you have experienced that level of air crash, but you don't even have a fracture. It's a miracle. Miracle. Everyone in the screening room knew that this was not a miracle, but Noah's light making up for the mistake. However, at least Shunichi is now fine. It seems that Shunichi is this year's fittest person, and he will be responsible for saving the world. The alien beast, that alien beast may be difficult to deal with. Peter said, I found some information in my inherited memory. That alien beast is very likely the one. The one. Yes, the first one. The first alien beast can also be understood as the ancestor of alien beasts, with the ability to evolve infinitely. Peter said, this infinite evolution is really unlimited evolution. Even if he is given enough time and energy, it can reach the level of Noah. Impossible. To become a multiverse level powerhouse, it is not enough to have enough energy. This is an all-round accumulation. Loki said, energy is the least lacking thing after achieving the multiverse level. Chapter 499 Flag. All flags. But even the strong ones at the multiverse level can get into trouble. Mackie has retired from the army. He wore another set of clothes and walked the last part of the journey with Kirishima, who came to see him off. I still can't understand why no one asked me about the red glowing sphere. Indeed, my memory of the incident may be vague and lack credibility. But, Mackie, stop talking. Kirishima interrupted Mackie and said, there are indeed a lot of unsolved mysteries in this incident. The sudden failure of the instrument, the disappearance of the glowing body, and my miraculous survival. So Mackie, whether it is a miracle or not, you are still alive now. This is an indisputable fact. But, listen to me. You just decided to leave the Falcon and the team, but you encountered an accident at this time, and almost lost your life, but you did not go to the underworld, but you survived by chance. I'm so happy. This is more worth being happy about than anything else. Kirishima sent Mackie out of the base all the way. The two Iron Men couldn't help but shed tears at this moment, but they both smiled at each other. In the face of the person leaving, it is better to send him off with a smile instead of looking sad. After retiring from the army, Mackie lived peacefully with his family as he wished, but this peaceful life was interrupted not long after. One night, Mackie woke up from a nightmare. He dreamed of the red light ball and a hideous monster again. What's wrong, Mackie? Nothing. Go to sleep. With the comfort of his wife, Mackie finally slept peacefully until dawn, but he still felt a strong sense of uneasiness in his heart. What's the situation? On the coast, a fully armed team blocked all the nearby coasts, and not far away, there was a stranded ship. The blockade has been completed, but he has not been caught yet. Where are the crew? All the crew have been killed. No one survived. At this point, the battle-hardened Special Forces member actually showed an uncomfortable expression on his face. To be honest, the scene was very tragic. It was as if a beast had ravaged the ship. Listening to his subordinate's words, the officer said, if our opponents were really just beasts, that would be great, but unfortunately, our opponents are much more difficult to deal with than that. Seeing the uncomfortable expression on the Special Forces member's face, everyone also knew that the one who made the move must be the ancestor of the alien beasts, the one. After the one jumped into the sea at that time, it was probably to find this unfortunate ship and the even more unfortunate crew members. What is the purpose of the alien beasts? Strange suddenly asked. If the other party is really just hunting, then the situation described to the Special Forces is unlikely to occur. I guess the alien beasts probably tortured and killed everyone on the cruise ship. Fear. Peter closed his eyes for a moment and said, people's fear, this is the purpose of the alien beasts. The alien beasts feed on fear. The video continues. After retiring, Mackie became a pilot of a private airline. Because of his experience in flying fighter jets, the company's president also valued Mackie. After completing a flight mission, the president told Mackie that his wife and his son Jimin wanted to see him, and because there was only one flight mission in the afternoon, he could take his family on a flight after this flight mission was over. The flight plan has been drawn up. Consider it my gift as I owe Jimin. Why do I feel like something is going to go wrong again? Why are you always setting flags? Aliens can't fly, right? In the afternoon, Mackie flew into the sky with a woman in black. Looking at her husband going away, Rangzi suddenly had a bad feeling. In the sky, Mackie took the initiative to chat with the passengers. The weather is pretty good today. Are you here to take pictures for the magazine? It doesn't matter to me whether the weather is good or not. The cold words of the woman in black made Mackie's heart skip a beat. Sure enough, the next second the other party said directly, we care about you, Lieutenant Mackie. When Mackie heard this, he suddenly felt something was wrong, but this was in the sky, and he was still flying the plane. Mackie looked around, and saw that he was surrounded by army helicopters. The woman in black was holding a pistol, pointing it at Mackie's forehead and said, just follow him. TSK, don't they have security checks when they work in the aviation industry? I remember now. Wasn't that woman the female researcher who dealt with the alien beast before? I see. Bruce Wayne said, the other party must have mistaken Mackie for the same alien beast, the one The alien beast the one has the ability to possess, fuse and infect humans, and transform humans into alien beasts, right? Peter nodded, and after getting a positive answer, Bruce Wayne continued, in their eyes, what's the difference between Maki Shinichi who was fused by the light of Noah and other people who were infected by the alien beast the one? Why is there no difference? Of course not. Even Maki Shinichi himself doesn't know about it, and is even afraid of the light of Noah, because the light of Noah has never communicated with Maki Shinichi, and the one has killed many humans, and there is no Ultraman in that world. Noah's light is the first one, so it is also called Nexter. So in the eyes of the people in that world, Noah's light and the ancestor of the beasts are both alien life forms. Because of the damage caused by the ancestor of the beasts, Noah's light is more likely to be classified as an unknown alien creature that can cause damage. We can guess that the beasts came to Earth before Noah's light and merged with humans to cause damage. These are all recorded. Maybe in their eyes, Shunichi Maki is no longer a human, but a monster similar to the beasts. The video continues. After flying for an unknown period of time, Shunichi Maki couldn't help asking, it's about time to tell me the destination. The plane's fuel level has reached a very dangerous level. The woman still looked calm and said, 12 kilometers ahead, landing on the coastline at the southern end of Long Cape. Hey, wait, there is no taxiway there at all. We have blocked the national highway for about 1 kilometer. Letting an ordinary civilian plane land on the national highway, don't joke, but this should be a piece of cake for the former Falcon pilot. Shunichi Maki was about to go crazy, but he had to bite the bullet and do it because he was strong. Chapter 500, Nexter's origin. Fortunately, the ace driver, Maki, is quite capable. At least he didn't come from an Indian driving school. Even on an ordinary road, he managed to land smoothly. The scene changed, and Maki was escorted to a car. Why do they have to use this method? Can't they just invite the person over? After all, this involves aliens. The less we know, the better. Besides, Maki's identity is somewhat special. If they take him away openly, they will eventually be criticized. Besides, this means that Maki is treated as an alien beast. Maki may not be able to come back alive. But if they hijack the plane, they can just report that the former Falcon pilot, Self-Defense Force member Maki Shunichi, crashed again during a flight on a certain day of a certain month of a certain year. That will be enough. Video continues. We are BCST. An army officer explained their origins expressionlessly. It is a special force affiliated with the United Nations that deals with biological and chemical terror. I didn't expect that. Maki Shunichi said helplessly, but even if it is a special force, your way of inviting people is too much. We are also forced to do this because of the situation. Who are you? Maki Shunichi asked the woman who had kidnapped him here in a bad tone. He was flying the plane well, and he could take his wife and son to fly in the sky after completing this task, but this woman happened to kidnap him at this critical moment. Even if you want to kidnap him, you can wait until I take my family to fly and then kidnap him. She is the head of the chemistry department of BCSG-1 and the proposer of this plan. The army officer on the side said, my name is Mizuha Risera, please take care of me. After driving for several hours, Maki Shunichi was brought to a house that looked very uneasy. Even if Maki Shunichi had only a little doubt, several cold gun barrels were pressed against Maki Shunichi's back. Looking at the guns in the hands of the soldiers in front, the black muzzles, and the hard objects against his back, Maki Shunichi knew that he could only follow them now. In the other company, the president was already anxious. The president even asked his friends to use radar to search, but still couldn't find Maki's plane. At this time, the plane that had disappeared for a long time landed at the airport. Everyone finally felt relieved. There was resentment mixed with excitement, but more of them were grateful for Maki's safe return. Everyone rushed out to greet him, but they saw that the person who got off the plane was not Maki, but Maki's old comrade, Kirashima. On the other side, Maki was taken into a room similar to an interrogation room. Let me make it clear first. In fact, we started monitoring you a month ago. The officer said, let's explain the reason. Mizuha Risera nodded and began to explain. 3 months ago, an unknown flying object crashed in the Pacific Ocean. The Maritime Self-Defense Force sent a deep-sea operation boat to investigate, but lost contact with it. Mizuho Asera walked to the side of the screen, and the picture of the submarine appeared on the screen. In Shunichi Maki's opinion, this can't be called a submarine. It's more appropriate to call it the wreckage of a submarine. The hull that was recovered was seriously damaged, but the driver, Lieutenant Udang, survived miraculously. Mizuho Asera continued. He confirmed that the thing that destroyed the investigation boat was an unknown blue light. Blue light. Shunichi Maki was stunned. This process, this statement, this operation, is similar to his own. That is to say, the same situation as yours has also happened on the bottom of the Pacific Ocean before. The commander suddenly said, "Show him that photo." Yes. Mizuho Asera called up a photo and said, "This is a photo taken in the research institute on Iwo Jima a week after he survived." Two photos appeared on the screen at the same time. One was Lieutenant Udang's normal appearance, wearing a military uniform, energetic, firm and gentle, belonging to the type of handsome uncle. And the second one was a complete humanoid monster. Even though Maki had been through many battles, he was still stunned when he saw the second photo. Can this thing really be called a human? Moreover, in just 1 week, the other party changed from a normal human to the monster it is now? What about himself? Exclamation mark. Because of the influence of the luminous body, his genes in his body mutated, and then he escaped from the institution. That's the monster at the beginning. So the alien beast can infect humans? Peter was stunned, and then said, that's right. The alien beast can infect spiders and mice, turning them into alien beast spider demons and alien beast two-headed rats, and can even make two-headed rats evolve. There is no reason why it can't infect humans. Then, aren't other people in New York in danger? The image continues. He absorbed the gecko into his body and assimilated with it, and he can also use the gecko's abilities. As the officer spoke, a surveillance video appeared on the screen again. In the empty room, the guards who were guarding hurried in to investigate, but the next second they were knocked to the ground by a black shadow and screamed. Looking at the guard being bitten by the beast-like creature, Shunichi Maki shuddered. This was no longer human. He will absorb other creatures and continue to evolve. We let such a terrifying monster escape, so. Some images suddenly appeared in Shunichi Maki's mind, which were the images of the guard being attacked by the alien beast. Shunichi Maki, who suddenly received the information, screamed and fell to the ground. The guards around him were alert instantly, but Sarah Mizuhara's expression was a little strange. It was the light of Noah that warned Shunichi Maki again. Peter said, that's how the light of Noah passed the information to me. Of course, because I saw a lot of things and had fought with aliens. I didn't scream, but I was still stunned for a long time. The officer seemed to know what Shunichi Maki saw. After asking hurriedly, he quickly confirmed one thing. This is the initial change. At first, the perception ability becomes extremely sharp. The same is true for Lieutenant Udo. Shun Maki immediately understood what the other party meant. He quickly asked, do you think I will become a monster sooner or later? That's why we have been monitoring you and caught you here. Are you kidding? I'm not a monster. I'm a human. Then why can you see the tragedy in the research institute? Because you synchronized the thoughts of the one and visualized it. The one. Is that the code name of that monster? Then what are you going to call me? The two? Next. Right after the next one. Peter looked at the trust evolver in his hand and said with a strange expression, I didn't expect where the name next came from. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.